What's going on, everybody? I'm Brad.
I'm Miguel.
And happy Saturday. Hope you all are having an awesome start to your weekend. We would like to welcome you to episode number 84 of Let's Talk Movies. Listen, very, very full show for you guys tonight. Lots and lots to talk about, specifically Marvel and Halloween Ends. I was out of town for a couple days and a lot of stories broke this week on multiple different fronts. So lots and lots to talk about on the Marvel side of things, lots to talk about regarding Halloween Ends. We're going to start tonight's show by talking some Marvel news and different updates. And the Miss Marvel finale with that big reveal, which I don't know about anybody else. I did not see that coming at all. I wasn't expecting that. But we're going to talk some potential casting updates for the upcoming Fantastic Four film. We're going to talk what we could see at San Diego Comic-Con for Marvel Studios Hall H panel. And we're also going to talk about something that's kind of bothered me, specifically in response to the very controversial reviews of Thor: Love and Thunder. There's some, I guess you'd call it drama that's gone on with, or I should say within like the greater Marvel fandom and even outside of that, just in the whole movie community. And I'd like to address that on tonight's show too. And of course, Halloween Ends has been trending all week. So the trailer is officially coming next week. And while the movie is largely still under wraps, thank the Lord, there are some discussions being had amongst Halloween fans and in the horror community about the movie, quite frankly, that has people shaking their heads. So we're going to spend the second half of the show talking Halloween Ends. And of course, we'll take your questions and we'll chat with you guys throughout the show. So just a lot going on right now. Big discussion to be had. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Miguel. How's it going, buddy?
We're going good, man. I'm excited for this possibly 2.5 hour shot. No, I'm kidding. Oh my God.
He's just kidding. He actually means 4 hours.
Oh my God. So verbose.
I'm kidding. That's an inside joke.
Yeah.
If you scroll through the comments on one of our older videos, you'll see what he's talking about.
Yeah. It's a good insult whenever I had to look up the fucking word. I was like, God damn.
I knew what the word meant, but I read it and I was like, okay.
I did not, because my IQ level is that of a fucking ant. So I had to look up the word, and I saw it and I was like, that's pretty good. Pretty good. When you got to make me look up the word to be insulted, I'm okay with that. So I'm all good,
man. All right. I know with you working, I was out of town this week, as I said. And
thank God there were no trailers, because I don't know how to work this stuff. So thank God, because Brad texted me. He was like, bro, I want you to know right now, like, if the trailer drops, can you do a reaction? I was like, bro, I only have the login to view this. I don't. And I pay for it. So like, it's whatever. So like, I don't know how to work it.
You could do it on your end if you wanted to, but
I wouldn't know how to fucking do it. So but yeah, luckily, thank God we didn't have the trailer.
Listen, luckily the Halloween Ends trailer did not drop last week. Or this week, I should say, and luckily it didn't drop,
or just any
yesterday,
good trailer,
because we were joking about this. By the way, this kind of ties in. Tuesday night, let me scroll up here. I have a lot of graphics tonight. Tuesday night, Mike and Jay are joining us from We Watched a Movie for episode number 15 of Purely and Simply Evil. We're going to take a deep, and I mean deep into Neil's pants. We're going to take a deep dive into Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. And of course, the Halloween Ends trailer actually drops the day after this show. So we'll talk a whole bunch of Halloween Ends on that show too. It's going to be a good time. But what I was saying is we're lucky that the trailer didn't drop, because I was talking to Mike a little bit last week, and I was like, we had some technical issues where we couldn't do that show when we were supposed to do it. We were sitting there chatting back and forth, and I was like, well, I'm out of town the first half of the week. And he was like, well, I'm out of town the last half of the week. And I was like, I said, it's going to drop when one of us are out of town. It's going to happen. And he was like, don't say that. but it's okay. So it's getting ready to drop, and we are super, super excited. But, like Miguel, we honestly, a lot of the stuff going on both on the Marvel front and on the Halloween front, we really haven't had a chance to even talk about it off air, because we've been, you know what I mean? We've both been doing our own thing and so busy. So I'm also moving this week. So like the room, I'm starting to take the studio down a little bit, and things are going to be, and it sucks because it's going to be like, we have this show, and then Mike and Jay are on Tuesday night, and then the Halloween Ends trailer drops Wednesday, and then we have San Diego Comic-Con going on at the same time. So next week is just going to be like, here's all the movie news you never knew you wanted.
And also look at my blank wall because I'm moving.
I know, it's right. Look at everything going on. So, Miguel, what are you drinking, my friend?
Thank God you said something. I was staring at this fucking beer for like a couple of minutes. I was like, bro, I just want to drink it right now.
He wanted me to say something. Oh, you could have drank it. I was drinking
pretty
mine.
much. I have this thing called 35K. Have you guys heard of it? Who is this from? Against the Grain.
Ooh, I like Against the Grain.
Yeah, it's out of Louisville, I think, bro. This shit's like 7.0 alcohol.
Yeah, their stuff is pretty up there.
This shit's pretty fucking potent. Yeah. Wiggity woo, we're putting in a swimming pool. And if there's enough left over, we're gonna fly you all down here to help us dedicate it. This is not your typical jelly of the month club milk stout. This stout is silky smooth and sweet and worth the 35K.
Okay,
but you can have only a little because the rest is ours.
Whoa. Is that a Christmas beer? Because you realize what you just said, right?
What?
You realize everything you just said is from my favorite movie of all time.
Is it really?
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. All of that. The Jelly of the Month Club thing. I don't know what Wiggity Woo is. I don't know about that. But the Jelly of the Month Club thing. Is it a Christmas beer? Why are you drinking a Christmas beer in July?
I don't fucking know, dude. It just said 35K and it has a cool design. I'm that kind of guy. So yeah, I got it, and I can't wait to be hitting the floor after this podcast, I guess, because fucking 7%, Jesus Christ,
that's awesome, dude.
I don't even drink anymore.
Man, you're over here drinking Christmas Vacation beer, and I need that. Dude, it looks black. It looks like you're drinking tar, like motor oil. You look like you're drinking what would be in somebody's car if they haven't had an oil change for like a year and a half.
I mean, it makes my Stranger Things cup look more ominous than usual because you know how it's like fading. So yeah,
especially the fact that Stranger Things was kind of faded, like from the dishwasher.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say, man, I'm a big fan of stouts. Obviously, I'm a big fan of dark beer. So like stuff with vanilla bean and like just stout beers and stuff. I'd love a Guinness.
That in
it. What? Oh, coffee. Fuck. Yeah, sure. Covfefe. Yeah. No, it's a good beer. Yeah, I'll agree. It's really thick. I'm not like thick, like like not that tight, but like when you drink this, you're gonna be like heavy for like a solid hour. So this isn't like a beer you get like at a bar if you're bar hopping. No, this is the one you drink after like after a long ass fucking day and this Christmas morning, and you want to leave your boss out in the desert and die. Like from the Christmas Lampoon Vacation. So other than that, I mean, yeah, it's a decent beer. I'm gonna drink it slow though, for the sake of the show. I'm drinking it slow.
I'm drinking one that's actually grown on me quite a bit. This is Braxton Brewing Company. I believe it's called Summer Road Trip. They're out of Covington, Kentucky, so they're up north too. It's a really good beer. It took me a while because it's really like there's a lot of citrus, like it's a lot of lemon. There's some berry. I don't know if it's blueberry or strawberry or there's some berry in there too. I'm not usually I can do citrus, but I'm not really a big like bright fruity beer kind of person. But this one, I don't know. This one's grown on me. The first time I had it, I didn't like it, but it's grown on me. So, and I'm drinking it out of a West 6 brewing cup, which is
sacrilegious.
Yeah, it's fine.
Boy, I'm not gonna lie. Kentucky, look, guys. I know you guys talk shit. I know a lot of people outside of Kentucky talk shit about like us, and we walk barefooted, racist as fuck. But you know what? at least we got like good, decent like breweries. If I gotta say so myself, like we got a lot of great breweries, man. Like and most of these I just find out like every week I'll find like a new brewery or something like that, or some ragtag group of guys that said, you know what, we're just gonna make a beer. And it goes on the shelf. So I mean, yeah, it's pretty good.
Listen,
yeah, I'm proud of our little barefoot racist state. We make great beers.
Listen, Kentucky may be known for many things, and there's a lot of, and I don't know. Tell me if you're in a different state. I don't know where any of you listening are, but like if you're in a different state, there are like I don't know, there are a ton of necessarily untrue like stigmatisms about. Or just a stigma about Kentucky, like
stereotypes.
Or like just a bunch of different weird stereotypes.
This man said stigmatism, like of the eye, you know, like a stigmatism.
I meant to say stereotype. You know what I mean? I don't know. Everybody thinks that Kentucky Kentucky people walk on dirt floors and they still use outhouses, and I don't know. Everybody's got like a Confederate flag in their front yard, which is true for some of the state, but largely it's not.
Yeah, my neighbor's got a giant blanket of the Confederate flag. So I mean, hey man, you just have neighbors. That's it. That's all.
It's fine. What are you gonna do? But you gotta admit, Kentucky is known for good booze. It is. We have good alcohol here.
It definitely is, man. Like I gotta be honest. Like we really hit the nail on the head with this shit, man.
We did. Let's go.
And we also have great movie podcasts. So cool.
We do. I mean, what can you say? I think we're here. Wham's here. Piz Owl is here. There's quite a few of them that are in Kentucky. Rosalie is here. She says, "Hi guys." She also says, "Are they really making another Fantastic Four movie? Are they going to mess this one up too?" Yes, they are making another Fantastic Four movie. Hopefully, they're not going to mess this one up. We're actually going to talk about that a little bit tonight because it's one of those things. This Fantastic Four film is the new Spider-Man No Way Home, where there's just like an endless supply of guessing. It's like a huge guessing game as to who they're going to cast as Reed Richards and what's happened, who's going to be the villain, who's going to be in it, who's going to direct it. It's just been like a nonstop flow of like exactly what happened with Spider-Man No Way Home and exactly what happened with WandaVision too. So Halloween's in the chat. Hi, Brad and Miguel. Sorry, been busy again. What's going on, buddy? No worries. That's an awesome profile picture. I hope you drew that because that looks really, really cool. That's a nice picture of Mikey. Sierra says,
seriously.
What?
What? I was going to... No, I'm sorry, honey. I hate to cut you off, but I was going to say his
Sierra,
profile...
He just cut you off. Just let you know.
Yell at me later. His profile picture looks like a fucking... you know what I'm talking about? Like those sketch drawings that people post on like local news station when they're trying to find somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? You know how like the Zodiac killer had
like
one?
a mugshot. Yeah. It's like the artist sketch of what somebody would look like.
Artist sketch of what somebody would look like. Yeah, it's pretty damn good. Okay, we can go back now.
All right, now I'm gonna get to Sierra's comment because I mean, duh. I love citrus in my beer. Well, that's good. You'd like this one. Try Braxton. What's it called? Summer Road Trip. That's what it's called. Rosalia says Blue Moon with an orange. Ooh, Blue Moon's a good one, man. I actually have I have a couple Blue Moons in my fridge that I need to drink. Maybe I'll drink them Tuesday night when Mike and Jay are on. Careful. Man, the Slaughtered Lamb Movie podcast is in the house. Frank and Darren, what's going on? Listen, if you have not subscribed to Frank and Darren, open a new tab and do it right now. Because they have an awesome show. We had them on.
Yeah, man. They're absolutely fun. They're a great group. They're a great duo.
About a month ago, we had them on, and we talked American Werewolf in London. And that was a really, really good time. So go check that out. So as we said, we're going to start the show tonight by talking a little bit of Marvel. We're going to talk Ms. Marvel. Which, Miguel, have you seen Ms. Marvel yet?
No.
Okay.
You can talk about it. I mean, I'm willing to watch any show. I don't get particularly mad about
I assume you know about the massive
I already know what happens
at the end. Okay.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big it was a pretty big I actually hadn't seen the finale when I heard that, and I was like, there's no way. And I finally watched the finale. I was like, no shit. I was like, they really just dropped mutants. So we're gonna talk Ms. Marvel a little bit. We're gonna talk Fantastic Four, as we mentioned.
Spoiler.
We're going to talk San Diego Comic-Con and what we could see for the Walking Dead panel. And then I do have a little bit of a rant, I apologize, planned about Thor Love and Thunder.
You don't plan a rant.
Well, it's not really planned, but we did talk or we did review Thor Love and Thunder last week. We enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't, and that's kind of stemming, that's kind of branching this entire bigger conversation about things out. And then once we finish our Marvel talk, we are going to jump in and we're going to talk a lot about Halloween Ends as well. So let's start this thing. So Ms. Marvel, before we get to the big spoiler for the end, let's talk the series as a whole. I actually really enjoyed it. It's different. It's very different, and it kind of goes into the whole thing. Like,
tell me why it's different first.
Well, listen. So many people are complaining about Marvel's Phase 4, and that nothing feels tied in. Everything is very stylistically different, and that's the thing. This is very much culturally, this is very much about a Muslim girl and her family, and it ties in a lot of different cultural things, similar to the way that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier did with Anthony Mackie's character, similar to the way that WandaVision was different. Like, the thing is, every single one of these TV shows and every single one of the films, I mean, when you look at Black Widow, when you look at Thor Love and Thunder, when you look at Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, when you look at Eternals, when you look at Spider-Man No Way Home, like, they're all very, very different. And this felt different. It actually took me, my wife and I both watched it, and it took me a little bit to get into it. I'm not going to lie. Julia said this the best way. She was like, it feels more juvenile than the rest of the Marvel things. But I don't think that's necessarily a criticism or a negative thought. It feels juvenile, but that's the story they're trying to tell. I mean, Kamala Khan is not, she's not 19. She's not a young adult. I mean, she is a young adult, but she's a teenager. She's still very much like freshman in high school. It's even a little bit more juvenile than.
You remember the type of person you were in high school as freshman.
Yeah. I definitely wasn't as cool as these kids in here. But the characters are really good. It's a little. There are some things that I would honestly maybe even go back and rewatch just because I was kind of like, I didn't understand certain things. It's different. Very, very culturally, I don't know if impactful is the right word, but it really, really.
It really represents the culture that it's trying to represent. Yeah, I would agree with you if that's the statement you're trying to go for.
Yeah, but even in the way that she gets her powers, she's got this bangle, and it basically unlocks the mutant ability in her, is kind of what they went for with this. Because if you remember, Kamala Khan she's an Inhuman in the comic book. She's not a mutant; she's an Inhuman. So that's kind of a big drastic change from the comic.
And that's one of the main criticism I've heard in articles that's been written about the show in particular was the change of her becoming a mutant instead of an Inhuman. Yeah. Which I don't particularly have any problems with it because I wasn't particularly a I wasn't particularly a Miss Marvel fan. So I don't particularly care for it, but there's a lot of criticisms going on as well about the reason why make her an Inhuman in the comic books, but also make her a mutant, and why make Miss Marvel the first introduction of mutants when you have so many other iconically culturally iconic mutants to come out. So it's like I don't particularly care, but it's something. It was a discussion that's been brought up, and I didn't know if you were going to bring that up, but that's definitely some of the backlashes that the end of that post credit scene got.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it kind of stems into what we're going to talk about in a little bit with Thor: Love and Thunder. The fact that it feels so different and it feels so not removed, but it feels like the stakes aren't quite as big. It feels very much like this is her origin story, which it is. You have to go into season 1 this is Kamala Khan's origin story. This is nothing more. This is not going to play into some big, which of course it might with the X-Men, but it's not going to play into some big overarching arc in the MCU. It's just her origin story. And I was okay. It did feel kind of quick, the mutant thing. Because literally, homeboy who plays Henry in The Walking Dead is her best friend in this show. And essentially, he just says something along the lines of, I took a look back at your DNA and there's something different. It's almost like there's a mutation. And then you hear the booby-dooby-doo-be-doom, booby-dooby-doo-be-doom, booby-dooby-doo-be-doo from the X-Men 97 theme. Which is funny. I showed Miguel a tweet the other day, and it was like, Kevin Feige has done more just throwing in the X-Men 97 theme twice in the MCU.
I've heard you say that.
Than the 20 Fox X-Men movies that they've had. I was like, oh.
Yep.
So, but I think the reason why they chose to make Kamala Khan a mutant is because, you know, everybody's had this question of when are the X-Men going to enter the MCU? Where are the X-Men? Where are the X-Men? Where are the X-Men? And I think they're going to do it very, very slowly, and they're going to trickle them in. Mm-hmm. I think they're just going to give breadcrumbs at first, like the Kamala Khan thing. Just going to use a breadcrumb. There is there's a few different villains, but one of the villains is a government agency called Damage Control, and they're trying to find enhanced people in New Jersey. And they get on the trail of her and these other, the clandestines, I think that's what they're called. They're kind of the other half of the villain thing. But, you know, this Damage Control sector of the government is trying to track her down, and they're trying to find her. And I could see them doing something. I could see them tying into the X-Men somehow and trying to hunt down mutants. My only thing about having Kamala Khan be a mutant is I find it hard to believe, other than Wanda, other than Pietro, we haven't, like, there's really not been any other enhanced or mutants that we've seen in the MCU so far. Like, and
it's either you're a god, or you got some good skills, or
exactly,
you know how to build like a suit.
Or there was an accident and something happened, or you, like a Bruce Banner, or you're Tony Stark and you built your stuff and you're a genius, or you're Thor or Vision. Like, that's kind of,
or you had a jet blow up in your face. Yeah, like exactly. That. Like, everyone has their different. Everyone has different origin stories.
So it was very interesting, and I do think that I think they're going to lay breadcrumbs for the X-Men. I don't think the X-Men is going to be something where it's just like, hey, we're going to get an X-Men movie, boom, and now mutants are in the MCU. I think they're really going to slowly build up to mutants being a larger force within the MCU. So I did like Ms. Marvel. It kind of surprises me a little bit, but Ms. Marvel is actually the highest rated MCU project to date. Not the show. It is the highest rated MCU movie or TV show to date, including Infinity War, including Captain America Civil War, including The Winter Soldier, including Iron Man. Like, nothing has a better critic score than Ms. Marvel does. So
take that as critics. I don't like critics.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that later too. There's a lot we're going to talk about tonight. So I enjoyed Ms. Marvel. Definitely check it out. I encourage you to check it out, Miguel. I think you'd like it after the first. It takes a little bit to pick up steam, but once it does pick up steam, they do a really good job of telling her story. Let's talk the Fantastic Four. So earlier this week, the internet was flooded with reports that Steven Spielberg had signed on to direct Marvel Studios' upcoming Fantastic Four film. And as we know, John Watts was originally attached to direct that movie, but dropped shortly after it was announced. And from what I understand, I think he just wanted a break from the comic book movie world, which I can understand because, listen, he did 3 Spider-Man movies. And I mean, they were really big deals. I mean, look at Spider-Man No Way Home. That was a massive ordeal. I think I can understand wanting to just be like, you know what, I'm going to step back from Marvel for a second. It's kind of a lot going on right now. And I get that. So John Watts has stepped away, and these rumors of Steven Spielberg
oh my God, I just looked up John Watts filmography. This man's only like 3 like box office hits, or like, you know, notable hits, is Spider-Man. That's insane. Yeah. The other ones I've never particularly heard of, and I don't know. I hope he's able. I hope with this, after Spider-Man trilogy, he can, like, you know, get some more notoriety and make some films, because he made some pretty decent Spider-Man films. I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, he's a really good director. But speaking of the Steven Spielberg thing, as it has since turned out via Collider and a handful of other industry insiders, Steven Spielberg is not attached to direct Fantastic Four. However, Marvel did reach out to him and his team to kind of gauge his interest in it, but I believe he denied. They have said they're looking for a big name director, similarly to tapping Sam Raimi to direct Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. They do want a big director to do it. Now, I don't know who that would be. I don't really have any. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of multiple directors that I might want to have directing the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I don't really have any. I don't have a preference necessarily. I think there are people that would do a good job, but I mean, I think it depends on the story they're wanting to tell, and even kind of going on to like talking about some of the fan castings and things like that. Because as I said before, it's like a nonstop stream of casting rumors and who's going to direct and who's playing Reed Richards, who's playing Johnny Storm and Sue Storm and Ben Grimm, and just there's a whole bunch of different rumors going on with that. And the most recent one that I wanted to bring up that's kind of gotten a lot of steam is Penn Badgley as Reed Richards. And if you're unfamiliar with Penn Badgley, he is the dude who plays the main character, the crazy guy, in You.
Ew.
I could listen.
Ew.
Listen. Whoa.
Ew.
I could listen to what I'm gonna say.
What is he gonna get monologues in his head that we're all gonna fucking hear?
No, but speaking of the monologue thing, if you've seen You, it's a really great show. He does have these little monologues in his head, almost like he's schizophrenic or like he's like talking to himself or having an argument with himself. I could see him pulling off the really smart, very calculated, intuitive persona.
Narcissistic, pathologic, psychotic.
I could see it.
Who's gonna be Susan Storm? Victoria Bertretti or something like that?
No, I don't know. Listen, I don't know. And
then you know what? Dylan Arnold, Theo Inger, yeah, from You too. Make him Johnny Storm. Like, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, there was another
totally
one.
Down.
There was another one for Ben Grimm, and I don't remember who it was. Jason Segel, I think it was Jason Segel for The Thing, but I don't know. I don't know when they're going to make their appearance. As far as I'm aware,
Jason Segel,
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Sure.
Playing The Thing. Could you see him playing The Thing?
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm open to whoever.
It's just like any big bulky guy will, big tall guy will do great as The Thing. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, to be completely honest, I would kind of be okay with, like, everybody's throwing out big names. Like, everybody wants John Krasinski back, which is not happening. Andrew Lincoln was I sincerely doubt it is. I really don't think it is.
I think they could. I think they would.
I think they could, but I don't think they're going to.
Bro, they brought Charles Xavier back, man. They brought Patrick Stewart
for like 5 minutes, though. Let's be real.
I mean, yeah, sure, but I mean,
it's not like he was a main character.
Oh, but you know what? It'd be very interesting. If they're going to continue with the multiverse stuff. I mean, yeah, just have John Krasinski as him, and then the universe that lost their John Krasinski could, the family that lost their John Krasinski could be like, it'd be an interesting story.
Yeah. Well, I even saw somebody that was like, dude, could you imagine if at some point we got a Council of Reeds? Get Krasinski, get whoever they get to play Reed Richards in the MCU, get Ian Gruffudd back from Tim Story's OG Fantastic Four movies, who I still think is awesome. I liked him way better than I like John Krasinski as
if you're gonna have a Council of Reed Richards, you better have Miles Teller in there. Just saying.
I forgot about Miles Teller. That should go to tell you what we think of that Fantastic Four film. I know. Well,
hey man, you know what? Who cares? Say what you will. Yeah, Miles Teller, great actor. He didn't do too well in Fantastic Four, but after he got that Top Gun body, I'm sure he'll kill it.
Yeah. To be fair, though, that movie is literally hot, steaming, rank garbage. So, I mean, I don't think
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check what the reviews are on that one. I'm not gonna lie.
It's literally terrible. It is like actually one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
let me see.
The original Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer are literally like Oscar winners compared to what that was. I don't know. They'd be a fun
9%. Holy fucking shit!
Yeah,
9% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Bad. Yep. Yep.
Oh my god, it's because they didn't give the Thing any pants. That's why.
What is? Oh yeah, he was like butt ass naked, wasn't he? That's weird.
He really was butt ass naked.
That's very, very strange. What is the look? Do this for me. Look at the Tim Story Fantastic Four movie from what, like 2003, 2004, somewhere in there. What does that one have?
28%. So not much better.
Oh, I thought it'd be much better than that. Whatever. Whatever. The critics don't matter.
Yeah.
The critics don't matter.
The critics don't matter when we disagree with it. That's pretty much the way it works.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
And it has a 45% audience score.
Whatever. I like those movies. Rosalia says, was Super 8 considered a superhero movie? I think so. I think I've heard that conversation before.
Really?
I've only ever seen that film once. I'd have to rewatch it again.
I mean, it's like last time I checked, it's pretty much just about it's like a sci-fi thriller, I would say, more than a superhero movie.
Yeah, it is. I would agree with that. Jaded says, yo, hope y'all doing awesome. Hello, chat. What's going on, my friend? Glad you are finally joining us. So yeah, listen, hopefully we'll get a little bit more info at San Diego Comic-Con this coming week or at D3, which I think at this point probably seems like the likelier scenario. I feel like somebody would have legitimately scooped if they actually had someone cast. I don't think I've seen, My Time to Shine Hello or Viewer and On or Big Screen Leaks or Daniel Rickman. I mean, I've seen a lot of people scooping that, they're considering this person. I think they've considered a whole lot of people, which I think is partially where the big rumor mill is coming from. But hopefully we do get something a little bit more at D3 because that is a big one. I mean, that's, again, arguably one of the biggest films for this saga because those 4 characters are so important. And with them comes...
For the story moving
Dr.
forward,
Doom.
honestly.
Yeah. And with them comes Dr. Doom, which is going to be, again, another massive character for this saga, hopefully. If things go according to plan, I don't know what the plan is. But if I had to make up the plan, if we're really moving towards Secret Wars, I think it makes sense for Dr. Doom to be the villain, like the big bad. I know we have Kang in there too, but hopefully we'll get a little bit of something about Fantastic Four, which brings us to San Diego Comic-Con, which is next week. And if you want,
we're going to it. No, I'm kidding. We're not. We're broke.
Dude, I would love. Dude, we need to make that a goal. We're gonna go. One of these days, we're gonna go.
A goal, bro? Yeah, that's a long-term goal right there.
I hope you're ready because we're going to Pasadena for the Halloween 50th in 2028. It's happening.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
For the Halloween 50th anniversary in 2028, we're gonna go to California.
See, dog, that missed my inbox. So just saying.
Well, it's an executive decision. I already talked to Julie about it. The 4 of us are gonna make it a vacation. It's gonna be nice. We're gonna go to the Halloween 50th. It's gonna happen.
And where is
it?
So
it's in California. I think. I don't know, but the 40th was in California. So
fuck, if California is a state by then, still, yeah, maybe, sure.
Never mind. So if you want zero spoilers, if you want nothing about, if you want to know nothing about what could be announced, these aren't really spoilers necessarily. These are just things that are rumored to be revealed at the Marvel Studios Hall H panel at Comic-Con next week. By the way, I sent Miguel pictures of this. We're big Walking Dead fans. The Walking Dead is apparently expected to have a massive presence at SDCC this year. So I'm hopefully we get a Rick Grimes because I'm missing my boy. I need Rick Grimes back. I need him back. I need some officer friendly.
He's too busy. He's too busy acting for Reed Richards.
Well, here's the thing though. AMC is like, Rick's coming back. Rick's coming back. Rick's coming back.
Who's saying that?
You haven't forgotten. Rick's coming back. AMC, dude.
Oh, yeah.
But we've heard nothing about Rick coming back, and it's been 4 years.
Bro, we went through a fucking pandemic.
I know.
You think we've been nothing. Europe's been shut down for a hot minute. Yeah,
they were supposed to start filming already, and I don't know, whatever. J-Dad says Fantastic Four could be better than the Avengers films if done right and sticking to the comic storyline. 100%. It could be just as good, if not better. It could be an incredible film, depending on how they go about it. But as we've seen before, it's really easy to mess that up, and it's really easy to gloss over all the fine details and the things that make their origin story really, really cool. So, okay, so speaking of Marvel Studios at San Diego Comic-Con, this is a list of possible things, and this is coming from Reddit. So again, take this with a grain of salt. We're not claiming this to be true. This is just something that I've seen go around a little bit. So we're going to kind of give our thoughts on some of these things, what we could, not what we will, what we could see at San Diego Comic-Con. So possible things that we could see. Number one, Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds will be in attendance to announce the next Deadpool movie, which isn't titled Deadpool 3. Director Sean Levy will send in a video. So, could get a Deadpool 3 reveal. Because as we know, Deadpool is actually going to be a part of the MCU now. How they do that, I'm not 100% sure.
Well, they said, I think Ryan Reynolds has stated in interviews that they said that that Marvel Studio wants to keep the same atmosphere that Deadpool has had. So that's good. Does that mean it's going to be connected? I don't fucking know. But, I mean, we'll have to see. And honestly, Ryan Reynolds literally spent like 4 fucking years trying to make the movie get off the ground.
He did.
And look what we got. So, I think his tenacity pays off in time.
I agree. Well, and everybody was really worried when they announced that Disney had bought the Deadpool character and all that stuff. And they're like, oh, it's just going to be PG-13. It's not going to be whatever. But like, I don't think so. I think Disney knows what they have with Deadpool, and I think Kevin Feige. I think Kevin Feige is smart enough to look at that character and say, they kind of struck gold with that the first time, so let's not tamper with that too much. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool to see Deadpool, because listen, when you have a crossover film and when he's interacting with other characters, you can tone him down a little bit. You know what I mean? And then in his movies, you can just have him go all out and even make a fourth wall break joke about it. You know what I mean? You can have him do.
There have been fourth wall breaks in the MCU already too. So
yeah. I completely agree. J-Dad says Deadpool needs to stay separate. They'll ruin what makes Deadpool cool if they combine it too much. I agree, and I've even seen people be like, wouldn't it be kind of cool if he was just connected in little ways, but like they never fully went there, like he's set in the same universe, but he just doesn't necessarily interact with any of the other characters. That'd be kind of funny. It'd be funny to see some of that.
That would be pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie, and at least have some of the characters come in and help Deadpool sometimes. I mean, it could work. I mean, don't make him part of the fucking Avengers. Like, for God's sakes, man, think about what you have. Like, how like Colossus and Megasonic Teenage Warhead. I'm glad I got that one right, and
I'm kind of shocked.
And how like they came into the Deadpool 2, and the first Deadpool, and they did a pretty damn good job. So I was like, I mean, as long as they keep doing that, because one thing that I remembered was the one that I remember in particular where I knew that they can do a good job with like crossovers, but not like major crossovers, was Ant-Man. Whenever Falcon and Ant-Man were like, they met each other and they were like, okay, cool. So it was really quick, but that's like one of those crossovers where it wasn't like necessarily like helping move the story forward, but like later on in the series. So I mean, like, I'm down for that. Like, you know what? Have I don't know, have Hawkeye or join Deadpool in there. Have like the Thunderbolts. Have the Thunderbolts try to hunt down Wade Wilson.
Cool. That'd be
like
cool.
That'd be pretty dope. Yeah, if you think about it. So,
and that could be funny. Like, that group of characters, that could be pretty funny. So I agree. J-Dad says, have Deadpool show up in a major scene and the other characters don't even acknowledge he's there. It would be awesome. That would be pretty funny. I'd like that a lot, actually. So we also have Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Ryan Coogler, Denai Guerrera, Tenoch Huerta, and Dominique Thorne will be present and bring their first trailer for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I know this is one that's been in the news a lot the last couple weeks. I do expect something to happen at SDCC for Wakanda Forever. I don't know if we'll get a full trailer. I don't know if there's been enough time for them to cut a full trailer for that film, but I would expect to get something, maybe a teaser, maybe a poster, something like that. Particularly now that we do know that Namor is making his MCU debut, which is another pretty big character, especially for the world of Black Panther. And there's obvious questions there as to how they're going to write out Chadwick Boseman and what they're going to actually do with that Black Panther character. I saw one theory that said maybe there is no Black Panther. Maybe Wakanda is kind of in shambles. And through this whole battle with Namor and the Atlanteans or whatever goes on in this film, maybe we don't actually get the crown of who's going to be the next Black Panther until like the final shot of the film. And then you cut to Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Like that would be kind of cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. I'm expecting to get something. What do you want to see from some Wakanda Forever?
What do I want to see? I want to see fucking Wakanda. Like, for God's sakes, man, they teased Wakanda so much, and all we got was like the outside village. That's all we got, Fair. Man. Fair. With with I forgot what his name is, the guy from Nope and Get Out. Like he's one of the leaders over there on the outside villages.
Daniel
Kalula.
Kalula, yeah, he's not in it.
Yeah,
he's not in it this time.
The fuck.
He's not in it.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense because he was, arrested for, I'm sure, for betraying the king. So, I mean, that makes sense.
No. It was because of Nope. Because of his filming schedule.
I know,
for Nope.
I know, but like for the sake of like the story, it makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Give me just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, also with this Black Panther stuff, yeah, I want to see more of Wakanda. I'm not gonna lie, guys, because like you've seen like how. Whenever Chadwick Boseman and all of them finally entered Wakanda, it was the same as if Thor went back to back home to his place. Like it was fucking beautiful, mesmerizing, just a whole new area just to fucking explore. So, and we got a little bit of Thor's homeland, but now I want to see more of Wakanda. And I'm sorry, guys, I know I'm trying to think of the fucking name of Thor's homeworld. Help me out here, for the love of God, guys. Comment somewhere because I am begging for it right now. But back to Wakanda Forever. Yeah, I want to see more of Wakanda. I want to see the ins and out of that place because it has so much more deep lore in it, and I'm sure they could build like a great movie about how Wakanda needs to rally together after the blip, after the attack from Thanos, because Wakanda is already damaged enough as it is because of the Battle of Wakanda after Thanos came in. So after the Battle of Thanos, after the blip, and then after the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, like they're like in utter shambles. I would say Wakanda is definitely in shambles. So I think like if I were to guess what Wakanda Forever would be based off of, is pretty much just like the country of Wakanda needs to rally together in order to deal with the threat that Namor will be presenting himself in this film. Which I know a lot of people are kind of upset with the fact that Namor is no longer an Atlantean. He's more, Aztec, Latin American vibes. Honestly, like it's the same as like Miss Marvel for them making her a mutant instead of an Inhuman. I mean, it's honestly just a choice that the MCU tried to make, just to stay away from the comics. Say like, hey, this is our own thing, and we think we can make a better story with that. So I mean, by all means. If Namor wants to be of Latin Aztec descent, I'm all for it. Honestly, hey, throw some Latin American representation there. I'm all for it without a doubt. Because if you think about it, I'm trying to think. I don't even think there are many Latin American representations in the MCU. If I had to think pretty clearly, the only one I know that I actually know of was Sam Wilson's sidekick in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Not Bucky Barnes. We all know who he is. But it was that other Latin fellow that was with him. He's in the Air Force as well. He's supposed to be... Jesus fucking Christ. My eyes were shut.
And then boom!
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to step out for just a second, guys. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just talking about...
Did you miss me?
No, not particularly. No, I'm kidding. But just to solidify my thought, yeah, Sam Wilson's partner in Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's of Latin American descent, and he actually becomes an ex-Falcon, if I'm not mistaken. So we have a little bit of representation, I suggest. So yeah, root for us.
Yeah. Cool,
but yeah, if Namor wants to end up becoming an Aztec god or whatever, Aztec protector, I'm all for it. Sure, why not?
Sweet.
So
sweet,
we were just I was just telling them what my entire thing is, what I'd like to see, and Wakanda Forever. So
cool. Sweet deal, man. J-Dead says Wakanda Forever opening scene. Namor destroying Wakanda. The film is them trying to find a new Wakanda and Black Panther while fighting Namor throughout. That's an idea. That's actually a very
Wakanda is not a place, it's a people.
It is Wakanda Forever. That's actually a pretty big, pretty bold theory, but I kind of like it though. I kind of like it. I think it's kind of interesting.
Asgard, cool. Fuck me.
Yeah. Max Elliott says, I take the end script on Reddit is fake. I have not read any end script and I'm not going to, so I don't know. I will say the Halloween end stuff that we're getting ready to talk about in a little bit is not, it has nothing to do with a script. I don't know. I'm not a Reddit person. I rarely get on Reddit for something. Like it's got to take a lot for me to hop on Reddit. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know if it's real or fake. I have no idea. The only things that I've seen are the things that are pretty out there that are on Twitter. And those are the things that we're really going to talk about. So that's we talked about Black Panther for Wakanda Forever. Other things that we could possibly see at Marvel's San Diego Comic-Con. Secret Invasion says no one will be in attendance for Secret Invasion, but they will reveal the main cast and share some footage. I have questions about when Secret Invasion takes place. I know there's been rumors that it takes place in between Infinity War and Endgame, in those 4 years or 5 years, whatever it was in between those two films, which is kind of interesting. I'm not necessarily sure what they're going to do with Secret Invasion, but I think it's a really cool concept. I think they've laid the groundwork for that with the Skrull thing going on. I don't know. I think
because we've had Skrull reveals like twice already, so like they're laying the groundwork for it. Obviously, with what happened in WandaVision and what happened with Spider-Man No Way Home. So we've had like two Skrull reveals. So it's like get ready, guys, because there's gonna be a lot of people being upset with some characters here and there that we love, that we all know and love, that are going to be Skrulls. So be prepared for that.
100%, man. Blade. This is another one that's really, really interesting. That a lot of people have been questioning about. Mahershala Ali, Kit Harington, Aaron Pierce, Milan Ray, and Bassam Tariq will be in attendance for some news. One big piece of news is that Anthony Starr will play Dracula.
Homelander.
That's pretty sick, dude. If Dracula is going to be the villain of Blade, that's pretty sick. I do hope that they let Blade be dark, like a little darker than most projects. I would love it. I think it'd be really cool.
All I got to say is Anthony Starr can play dark as fuck.
Yes.
If you guys have watched The Boys, you'll know who the fuck I'm talking about. Homelander is a fucking menace to society.
Could you see him doing a good Dracula?
I can see him doing a decent Dracula. Yeah. His demeanor and his stare that he has and as Homelander, it's fucking ridiculous. And his like rage moments and The Boys, it's fucking great. Yeah, without a doubt. I'm all for Anthony Starr being fucking Dracula. That'd be dope.
It would. I mean, listen, Blade is a really, really cool character. Like that I think is often overlooked, especially nowadays. But hopefully what would you think? And let me know in the comments below. What would you think about them bringing Sam Raimi back to do Blade? Could you see it?
Did he do Sam Raimi?
What are you talking about?
Did Sam Raimi do Blade Trinity?
No. But Sam Raimi did do Multiverse of Madness. I'm saying, Could you see Blade in the Sam Raimi style?
No.
Really?
No.
Huh. Okay.
Sam Raimi's pretty good in like horror-ish, like demon-ish kind of thing. But this is like icon horror. You know what I'm talking about? Like traditional iconic horror.
That's fair, like the Universal monster thing. But
yeah,
I also
Universal monster thing.
I don't think they'll play it as the Universal monsters like a Nosferatu or a traditional Dracula thing. I think this is going to be, I personally hope, because it would be something new and something different that we haven't had for the MCU yet. I think it would be cool to do the very gothic style Transylvania, like the very dark black castle with lightning. Like, I mean, obviously in the MCU style, I'm not saying like do a complete like a period piece or something like that, but put it in that really gothic emo black and white gray,
like Underworld kind of vibes thing.
Kind of, yeah, but less 2000s action-ish. Less like Resident Evil.
No Evanescence is what he's saying right there.
I know, no Evanescence, no Mila Jovovich like jumping off of a building. Like, I don't need anything like wild. You know what I mean? Like, just with that gothic feel. I think you could do something really, really cool with, J-Dead, that's an awesome idea. Guillermo del Toro directing Blade. That is an idea. Perfect example with The Strain. Did you watch The Strain, Miguel?
No, but I've seen snippets of it, and it looks pretty good in regards of like doing Underworld, not like Underworld, like from back then, but like Underworld vampire, like society. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Did he direct the Ron Perlman Hellboy film?
Guillermo del Toro? Yes, he did. He did a pretty good job.
Yes, he did. Yes. Yep. Guillermo del Toro, he did. Kind of in that style. You know what I mean? I think that'd be pretty cool. I agree with that. Rosalia said Blade should be a series. I could see that too, although it's not. I really don't think it's gonna be I don't think it'll be a series. I think it'll mainly be just a show. Wesley Snipes cameo in Blade, maybe that would be pretty cool.
I would not mind that. Cool. I'm not gonna lie. I would not mind that. Let's help the guy with his tax evasion stuff, man. He owes a lot. Let's help him.
Oh yeah, isn't he in trouble right now? Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Sorry, won't.
Hey man, they're keeping Ezra Miller, so anything's possible at this point.
Are they keeping Ezra Miller though? I think they are crazy if they keep Ezra Miller. I think they're kind of crazy if they keep Ezra Miller. I mean, do you mean keep him in the Flash or keep him after the Flash?
I think they're gonna keep him after the Flash, honestly. So
I hope not.
But yeah, overall with this with the Blade movie, yeah, I'm pretty excited for it because we're gonna have 2 MCU Draculas if you think about it. Yeah, so that'd be fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah,
we already had an MCU Dracula because with the Blade trilogy that we had with Wesley Snipes, it ended with Dracula with Dominic Purcell. Like he was. He did an alright job. I mean,
it was okay.
It was a 2000 script. Let's be honest. So, like, I mean, you get what you get right there.
Yeah. David Irwin, what's going on, buddy? He says he already directed Blade 2, guys. Sorry, just joining late. Did he really?
Holy fuck!
Did he really?
Sure as fuck did.
I did not know that. I had no idea that he did that.
Bring him on. They ain't gonna hurt.
I don't know. I think he did a great job with it. I'd be down for him to come back. I don't know if they're gonna do that. Now that you say that, I don't know if that's gonna happen. Good point though, David. Thank you for bringing that up. I don't know if
I said Sam Raimi. Maybe I did Sam Raimi directed
in my head.
Sam Raimi directed fucking Spider-Man, and he came back from Multiverses of Madness. And dude, anyone's in play.
Yeah, but it was a different property though.
And Guillermo del Toro is not owned by a studio. At least I don't know.
I know, but it was still Spider-Man going to Doctor Strange. This is Blade going to Blade. You know what I mean? I think they would be worried that it would feel the same as the Wesley Snipes films. Like it wouldn't be different.
No, because I'm sure they would. No, because I'm sure if what we're going to talk about later, I'm sure they'd give him, much more freedom to do what he wants, and it's not going to be too held back by a script and fucking executives. So.
That's fair. That's fair. Another interesting one, considering Brie Larson was in the post of Ms. Marvel, is The Marvels, which Brie Larson, Iman Nalani, I think it's how you say her name, and Tiona will be there when the show when they showed their footage, Zaw Ashton will not be present due to her pregnancy. Anson Mount will reprise his role as Black Bolt. Interesting. Jodie Turner-Smith will also join as Medusa in the post-credits of the movie, setting up Universal Inhumans as a big cosmic story going forward. That's a lot of information.
I mean, that's cool.
The interesting thing that was mentioned there, though,
was the
Inhumans thing, and that kind of makes me scratch my head, considering the fact that she's a mutant. She's not. They just went through all that trouble with the booby dooby dooby doo, booby dooby dooby doo, booby dooby dooby doo, making her a mutant and not an Inhuman. And now they're like, hey, by the way, the Inhumans are in your movie. like what? You know? So I don't know. That's interesting. Black Bolt coming back.
You need to redeem him.
We do need to redeem him because, bro,
you need to redeem my boy right there.
Messed him up. So
Wanda made quick work of a fucking Inhuman.
Yes. The king of the Inhumans. She made quick work of the king of the Inhumans. Like, that's pretty wild. Yeah. So I am excited to see it.
So wait, hold on. Who's the casting on this?
You have Brie Larson. You have Iman. Her last name annoyed the crap out of me. Of Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan. You have Kit no. You have Teyana will be there as I forget her name. Teyana Paris, that's her name, who is playing the new Marvel from WandaVision. I forget her name too. And then Zaw Ashton. I'm not sure who Zaw Ashton is playing. Zaw Ashton is playing. Let's see. Who is she playing? I'm on her IMDb. Give me just a second. The Marvels. Actress. Let's see. The Marvels. What the hell?
She's going to be a villain.
Cast. It doesn't say on here.
Zaw Ashton's villain role in the Marvels revealed.
Who is it?
Let me see. From Disney Insider, they said...
Jada, you're not wrong. He says Black Bolt deserves better. He kind of does, bro. He does. So who's she playing? The villain?
Ale Dawn is a Kree general who works alongside General Darben in assassinating the sitting emperor before the reigns come all in the Operation Galactic Storm. So we're still going to get a lot from the Krees, I assume. Yeah, because from Captain Marvel, the first movie with Brie Larson, I mean, you know, I forgot his fucking name too. Ronan the Accuser said like he'll be back with more numbers, but obviously, you know, he bit the bullet thanks to a rock star tomboy and a raccoon. Like he died by that. So
the dance off to save the universe.
Yeah, he died, to Footloose. So you know, obviously, with his death, there has to be someone to take his place to, continue that battle. So, I mean, yeah. I was thinking that the Miss Marvel thing would have been like at least like. So, is this considered like Brie Larson's like sequel? Like, is this like Miss Marvel? There's Captain Marvel and then the Marvels.
The Marvels is kind of a split sequel for Brie Larson's Captain Marvel and Iman Vellani's Ms. Marvel. It's a split sequel. They're co-starring in that film.
Okay.
So and one of the things that I even said, like even like watching Ms. Marvel, I said the banter and like the relationship between Brie Larson and Iman Vellani is going to be really cool because I think they're going to play off of each other really, really well. And it's going to be cool. It'll be a cool duo.
Whether what I saw was fucking what was it? Canon. Apparently, like in Disney, there's like a little ride thing that has like an extra introduction or an extra extension of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mm-hmm. It had Captain Marvel, Khan, Sam Wilson, Ant-Man, and the Wasp all fighting Ultron. I'm sure it's just a ride and it's not going to like push the story forward.
Probably.
But I mean, it had all of the characters that you would. It had all the actors, all the respected actors in that whole little thing. So I thought that was pretty cool. So
that is pretty cool. That sounds dope. Yeah. That's awesome.
Like you got to see Kamala Khan interact with the new Avengers, which is pretty cool. So it's pretty cool to see that. Yeah.
That is pretty sick.
Man. Same reaction as you would with like Spider-Man being in the fucking MCU or being in the Avengers. Like you had the same type of reaction.
When the first time we saw him in Civil War.
Yeah, like just same, like that same feeling. Completely starstruck by everybody around.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, the next one. This is one that I've talked about for a long time. And this is one that I have really, 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 really high hopes for. Because A, it could be sick. B, this character, I think, has never gotten what they deserved. And C, it could be one of the darkest storylines for the entire Marvel Universe so far. And that is World War Hulk. And now the description says, was originally going to be a movie. It is now being turned into a 4-part series for Disney Plus that may have a small theatrical release. This could possibly be the big Avengers event before Secret Wars with many big characters. I don't necessarily know how I feel about it being on Disney Plus. I think World War Hulk almost deserves its own movie. I think it's a big enough story.
Bro, it's a 4-part series.
I know, but I don't know.
Bro, that's 4 hours long. That's more information we would get than a movie.
I don't know. Maybe they thought the story was too much to do.
Too long for it to be a movie. So they had it. And so they needed to be. Yeah.
It's a very big story.
I'm completely okay with that.
I'm okay with it. My thing though is they're going to have to switch it up a little bit. They're going to have to do it because we already kind of got a little bit of the Planet Hulk stuff in Thor Ragnarok. And some of the vital players, like we would have Black Bolt, but we don't have an Illuminati yet. We don't necessarily have, I don't know. We don't necessarily have all of the Illuminati characters and all of the characters that play a role in the World War Hulk storyline. You know, Doctor Strange does play a big role. We also know that Tony Stark plays a big role, and Tony's not there anymore. I think they would have to shuffle some of the characters, and they would have to shuffle the story around. But World War Hulk is one of the heaviest arcs in all of the comic, and I'm talking comic books. If you've read the World War Hulk story, it is one of the darkest and one of the heaviest arcs for any Marvel character ever.
They throw our boy Bruce Banner around a lot.
They really do, and he throws everybody else around a lot. I mean, there is literally a moment where they're fighting the Hulk, and he goes into critical mass, which I think is, if you're familiar with that character, when the Hulk goes into critical mass, it's like Godzilla going nuclear. There's no stopping it. It's basically just you're at the mercy of him. And he literally breaks a chunk off of the Eastern Seaboard. That could be insane. And it could be a very, very big storyline. But we'll have to see. I really like the idea of that being the big crossover event, kind of like what Civil War was. I think that would make for a really, really cool crossover event. And really, really emotional for a lot of the characters that have gotten to know Bruce Banner too, because they're going to have to be fighting somebody that they care about. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it would almost make it. It would almost make it even more emotional if Natasha was still around. Another big question I have with World War Hulk is we have to get Savage Hulk back. Right now, we're still in Professor Hulk world. So I'm guessing is something going to happen in She-Hulk with his character where we get the OG Savage Hulk version of him. You know, what's going to bring out...
But first, they have to take down Frogman, if you guys have seen in the fucking series.
What do you mean? Frogman?
He didn't... He's one of the villains in the She-Hulk series.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course. I don't know whoever came up with that, but of course. Let's go over the chat. I know you guys are talking about World War Hulk. Halloween says, I wish they would make another standalone Hulk movie. I do too. I don't really understand why he hasn't gotten his own film. And I know technically he did. He was really the second installment in the MCU. I mean, you had the Eric Bana Hulk film from like 2003 or 4, which when I was a kid, I thought that movie was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And as I've gotten older, I watched that original Hulk film and I'm like, what? So he's his dad, and this is like, but
are you talking about the first Hulk?
It's a very weird film. Like, if you really go back and watch it, stylistically, like what they did with the comic book panels and stuff like that, the whole thing with his dad, and his dad just turns into an electrical storm at the end. Like, none of it really makes any sense.
He's the absorption man.
I know, but it still doesn't. It's kind of dumb. Like, even the way that movie ends, it's just kind of like, okay, like I don't know, it's not that great. But you also had the Incredible Hulk, which was okay, but it's still, I don't think that's why I said I don't think the Hulk has ever fully gotten I don't think he's ever gotten the treatment that he deserves. Like, that character is so important to this universe, and it's such a cool character, but it just, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, I mean, honestly,
they've never wanted to do another Hulk film.
Yeah, I figured that. And I think I've read a story recently saying that the Russo brothers really didn't know, like, they nerfed the Hulk because they didn't know what to do with him in regards to the story of Endgame and Infinity War. They really didn't know. They're like, what do we do?
That's a criticism I have of Endgame. I think Infinity War, it works. The whole he was scared of Thanos thing, because, I mean, let's be real. When we saw Thanos beat the Hulk in like 30 seconds, I think everybody in the movie theater was like,
yep, it was like, well, no one's stopping him.
I know. I mean, it was just like, well, there goes. Everybody's dead. Like, you know, I think it worked.
That was what started the whole like power rankings of the MCU. Was like, well, fuck. If the Hulk got his ass kicked by Thanos, but Thor was able to almost take down Thanos with Stormbreaker. It's like, well, who's the most powerful one there? And then Wanda came in, and then Captain Marvel came in, and it was like, holy fuck! Like, it's like,
but if you think about
like,
it,
the Hulk's like defeat like started the whole power ranking, which goes to show how important this character is in the MCU. Like, he sets the bar for who's the most powerful.
Yes.
That's not saying he's the most powerful in the Marvel universe, but he sets the benchmark. He sets the bar. So,
well, and if you think about it, even when Thor and the Hulk fight, Thor beat the Hulk in Ragnarok without Mjolnir and without Stormbreaker.
Well, I mean, no, he just got knocked down. I mean, you don't know.
But I mean, I know, but I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, he held his own with him. So I don't know. I think the Hulk. I think there is a lot of story left for the Hulk. And I know ever since Endgame ended, Bruce Banner has been rumored to have a really big role in this universe moving forward. So, and I think given what we've seen with She-Hulk and knowing that there is possibly a World War Hulk series or film, whatever it may be on the way, I'm really excited, man. I think it could be really, really cool.
I agree.
Rosalia says, was there a gray Hulk? There was. The Hulk was originally gray. As David says, I'm looking at the chat. David says, I think the Hulk was originally gray, but it didn't look right in the comics. There may be now, like the way they have a red Hulk. I think there is a gray Hulk. I forget who it is. Ray Hulk. Joe Fixit. Okay. Here's what it says. Here's what it said. Originally, Stan Lee wanted the Hulk to be gray, but due to ink problems, the Hulk's color turned to green. This was explained by saying that the gray Hulk I hate pop-ups. The Grey Hulk was the original Hulk to appear when Banner first got hit by the gamma bomb. However, due to Banner's repeated use of gamma radiation projectors, the much better known, more common Hulk, Green Hulk / Savage Hulk, emerged. He also serves as the main protagonist in the second part of the Immortal Hulk comic book series. So that's how they explained it. Originally, the Hulk was gray, but because Bruce Banner kept trying to experiment on himself and he kept giving himself more gamma, the Hulk turned green. So that's that. But I have heard that now that you say that, they call him the Joe Fixit version, and then Savage Hulk is the green, like the green, the Hulk as we know him. And of course, you have Professor Hulk as well. Jaded says critical mass is like when you eat that second bean burrito from Taco Bell. Yeah. Your toilet reaches critical mass, I can tell you that. Jaded also says Eric Bana just broke bad. For real, though. He does. I don't know. It's weird. Have you ever realized how big the Hulk is in that movie, by the way? Bro looks like King Kong from 2005.
Bro, he really does. He's fucking massive.
Let's that was 2003?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 2003. Let me see. Let's see if there's a comparison. Like a size comparison thing. Yeah, bro, look at this. Let me share my screen real quick.
Yeah, Eric Bana's Hulk was like a bulk Hulk. Yeah.
Look how big he is.
Yeah,
he's almost too big.
Bro, look at the protein bar the Hulk's eating in that picture right there. Jesus fuck. We eat premier protein. This man eats a fucking missile,
Yeah, dude, that's huge. He is insanely huge in that movie. It kind of looks a little bit ridiculous how big he is. Also, that 2003 CGI though. It looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks fucking top notch.
Incredible. David Irwin says 2003 Hulk farts H-bomb. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome, dude. I will say the coolest thing in that film is when he escapes the underground bunker or whatever, and they call in the tanks, and the tanks are coming up on him or whatever, and he flips one tank over, and then when he grabs the one by the gun part that sticks out
by the cannon,
the cannon, and he swings it around his head and throws it 25 miles away. That's pretty sick. That was a pretty sick scene.
You're missing a really funny part there too. Whenever he jumps on another tank and tries to rip the top half of the tank, and then what he doesn't realize is the cannon is right underneath his leg, so it crushes his balls. And they make it known that yo, my man's hurt right now.
Yeah.
So he swings his leg over. Is okay, that's not happening again.
So. Yeah. Well, I don't know. He's just so big in that movie. It's really funny, actually. Halloween says Hulk on steroids. He does look like Hulk on steroids.
It really do. Eric Bana's Hulk was bulky Hulk, and then Edward Norton's Hulk was the Hulk on a cut, I would say. And then Bruce Banner's Hulk is what you would want after the cut and going back on bulk. Yeah. So
yeah. Let me fix my screen here. Rosalia says, in the comic, was it Bruce or David? It is Dr. David Bruce Banner. That is his full name. At least if you go back.
Look at you.
Yeah. Even if you go back to the series. When was that series?
The TV show, the
cartoon? I want to say it was in the 70s. No, the one with the Bill Bixby show. Yeah, where Lou Ferrigno played him when Bill Bixby played Bruce Banner. I think he actually said, I think he went by David.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I think it's largely just known as Bruce Banner. You know what I mean? David Irwin says the old school. I'm old school. 70s TV Hulk is still my fave, dude. Yeah, it's a good one, man. It's a really fun
one. Big guy, where bodybuilders were the most massive you can get, and the only way you could show strength and power was making it go in slow motion. That was it.
I know.
I was if he's picking up a car and throwing it at you, it's going in slow motion.
Yeah.
Just to
and
show
it's funny how
he
almost it's funny how he moves too, because he moves so Like he had you can tell he's trying
he extends his fucking lats to make him look even more wider. Yeah, it's like
it's funny. So even moving on past World War Hulk, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, a majority of the cast will be in attendance and they will show some footage. That's going to be a fun one. We're actually going to come back and talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in just a few minutes. That kind of relates into what we're going to talk about with Thor: Love and Thunder. Ant-Man. J-Dead, there we go. I'm already messing up words. We've been on for an hour and 60 minutes. Okay. We will see some footage with actors Rudd, Lily, and Newton present. Jonathan Majors will send in video as Kang. Interesting that it says as Kang. I wonder if that's going to be Loki Kang. I wonder if that's going to be actual Blue Kang. I know there was a picture of, because when they have their rap
Loki
party,
Kang? What are you talking about?
Normal like dude Kang, like looking like a human being Kang. Not like Loki as Kang. That's confusing. But their rap gift, I don't know if it was a TV shirt or a hat or a poster or what, but there was a rap gift from somebody who worked on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania that was
that guy's not getting invited back.
I know, right? The Ant-Man helmet shattered, and in the reflection of it was Blue Kang, like actual Kang the Conqueror Kang. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how that whole thing works. I'm interested to see how the quantum realm ties into the multiverse.
It's just another universe.
Yeah, but they already dealt with that with time travel. So it's like, does time travel tie into the multiverse somehow? I don't know.
No, it's just another avenue to go to another timeline.
Much. So I don't know if we'll get a trailer for that one. Hopefully we get a teaser that'll kind of enlighten us on a couple of different things. I don't know, but that could be an interesting one as well. Wonder Man will be announced with Henry Golding as Simon Williams. An interesting detail is that Evan Peters is returning as Ralph Bonner, but may have a new name. Will likely be a side character in the show. I guess that will be a show and not a film. I'm not all that familiar with Wonder Man. I mean, I know the character, but he was never a character that I was super, super into as a kid. So I'll be interested to see what comes of that. And then finally, listen, this is one that everybody's waited on for a really long time, is Daredevil Man Without Fear will be announced with Charlie Cox starring, along with Eliza Gonzalez as Elektra. Now, tell me your preference, Miguel. Would you rather see a Daredevil Man Without Fear movie, or would you rather see a Daredevil series again?
Let's do a series again.
I think I agree.
Because you actually get to see him work as a fucking lawyer. If you don't do that, if you do that as a movie, you kind of lose that edge, honestly. Right. You get like little snippets of him like coming out of like the courthouse and it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But like I like to see him work as a fucking lawyer and also like do because that was like the perpetual thing that happens with Daredevil. It's like you can't particularly be a good lawyer if like you're out patrolling the night and beating up bad guys. Like you kind of can't be a good lawyer. So
it's the Peter Man. I listen. I actually hate myself in case
Peter Man. It's Peter Man. I swear to God, if I had Photoshop abilities, I'd be ripping up in half.
I got to give myself one.
You serious?
There was Peter Man.
Honey, like remind me about Peter Man, because I'm gonna make sure I work something with that, for fuck's sakes. Golly, Peter Man? Fuck.
Oh my God. So yeah, man, there it is. Lots of things coming. It's
a stacked fucking table. I would say that.
It is. And again, some of that could be true, none of that could be true, but it's something that has been floating around a lot. And I have seen a couple other things too that might be announced, but I am in that. I think I am expecting a lot for the Marvel Studios panel, and I'm also expecting a lot for D3 as well. I think they're going to kind of split a lot of things. Some things will be announced at D3, like what we talked about with Fantastic Four, but I think a lot of things will be announced here as well, or teased here, similarly to what we got when we started this show 2 years ago with Disney Investor Day in 2020. So. Mm-hmm. David Irwin says, "I'd love to see Cox's Daredevil cameo and other heroes movies, though." Yeah, and that's something that Kevin Feige had even teased. Like, somebody said, "Where are we going to see Charlie Cox's Daredevil?" And he said, "Everywhere." Like, Daredevil is going to be in a lot of different projects coming up. It's already been 100% confirmed that he and Vincent D'Onofrio will reprise their roles in the Echo series. I think it would be sick if we got Daredevil in the fourth Spider-Man film when Tom Holland starts his next trilogy. I think that would be really cool. And JDED says, "Agreed, Miguel. The lawyer side of Daredevil tying into his vigilante side is what makes it so good." I agree with that. Mm-hmm. I do agree. Even seeing him, even thinking back to season 2 of Daredevil, when he was Frank Castle's lawyer, that was one of the best. Seeing him as Frank Castle's lawyer was one of the best parts of that season.
It certainly was.
It really was.
Honestly, it's the fact that Daredevil it's the fact that Matt Murdock is a lawyer is what helps him become even more of a better Daredevil. It's like both of them play such an important role in his character throughout the comics. Like, it has to be noted and it has to be shown just as much as Daredevil does. And some people complain that Daredevil wasn't really shown in the TV series, but I'd say the good majority of people that love that show would say that it was a pretty decent balance between the two. And you obviously see Matt Murdock try to control himself as a lawyer. You also have Daredevil trying to control himself as a vigilante. How far can he go? How far can the law go? And what ties in with the law, his faith, and his friends, and all of his morals. That's what made that show so fucking good, was that they made the villains good, and they also made such a dilemma with they made the villains so good that it tested Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock's character so much. Every single show, he was being tested in his morality and what is right and wrong, and what can go to the law and what goes into his hands. It's it was tremendous. It's a great show. One of the best Marvel shows that we've had in a long time.
I completely agree with everything that you just said. Mm-hmm. Things that I would like to see, I do want to hear about Fantastic Four, but I think they're saving that for D3 later in the year. Mm-hmm. I would say the X-Men, but like I said earlier when we talked to Ms. Marvel, I think they're just going to leave breadcrumbs for a while before we get any of the signature mutants.
When is the X-Men 97 supposed to be coming out, or did that already come out?
No, it's not out yet. I'm not sure when that's supposed to come out. Yeah, hopefully we'll hear something more about that too. Well, we have X-Men 97, we have Ironheart, we have Spider-Man first year. We have all of that stuff that we haven't really heard a ton about. But I think they're going to drop breadcrumbs for the X-Men before we get a Jean Grey or a Logan or an Xavier or Beast or Magneto. Before we get a signature mutant, I think they're going to leave breadcrumbs and they're just going to kind of build up the mutant storyline. Another one, I would also like to see something about Ghost Rider. Because Ghost Rider is another really dope character that we've heard nothing about so far. You know what I mean?
Nothing about other than some theories and casting of Keanu Reeves. Which, by the way, Taron Egerton is apparently in talks of playing as the next Wolverine. Which I know some of you guys may not be hyped about that because of how impactful Hugh Jackman did. But I would have to say that if the X-Men is going to survive in the MCU like the Avengers, it needs to be more mainly focused on the Avengers than just one certain individual. Logan or the Wolverine can't be the main focus that drives that entire story.
I agree. He very much was for the Fox movies.
Most definitely. Yeah, with that's why he's had that record for so long, for the longest running character in a movie. Like he's earned that because he's been in like damn near every single X-Men movie, and he's had three like Wolverine movies. So like it's like, yeah, he's been in he has that record and he's earned that record. But for the X-Men to survive in the MCU for as long as we think that this thing is going to last, how long this gravy train is going to last, the X-Men needs to be focused more on the X-Men itself and like the actual students in the story within that school. Right. And obviously, you have your top characters, Charles Xavier, Storm, Jean Grey, Cyclops, the Beast, like those are the main characters that the story needs to push forward on. But you need to build like another type of not quote unquote universe, but like an entirely different subsection of the MCU for it to survive. Like there has to be like if you bring the mutants in, you have to have at least like 12 or like fucking 10 like other movies that has to do with the X-Men's that adds on to the MCU. Like they're gonna be there for a long time.
Yeah.
So don't give me like 2 movies about the X-Men war and then 1 movie about Days of Future Past with like the fucking Sentinels, and then give me Apocalypse out of fucking nowhere. Like, no, don't give me that shit. And then go back and talk about Jean Grey's fucking superpowers. Well, like, no. Like, don't do that shit. Like, those main stories, those main topics, those main, like, big, impactful stories that has to do with the X-Men, those need to be built up the same way as Infinity War is built up. Like, those are massive stories in the comic book world. Yes. Like, without a doubt, the battle with 100%. Apocalypse, the Days of Future Past with the Sentinels. Obviously, I know they're not going to do that. They're not going to bring those storylines back because it's already been done. And if I'm being honest, Days of Future Past is without a doubt one of the best rated X-Men movies out there.
It is.
Besides Logan. But yeah, you need an entirely different subsection because as you can see now, we have like different sections of the MCU. We have the Avengers. We have Guardians of the Galaxy, so Outer World, like Thor and all that stuff. You also have different magical stuff like Wanda and Doctor Strange, Mordo, and all that and all that. You also have the science portion of it, which has to do with Bruce Banner and She-Hulk and all that stuff. You also have low-level stuff with Matt Murdock, help me out here, Hawkeye, and then fucking
Kamala Khan.
Yeah. And what was the other one I was thinking of? Well, I can't think of it, but you get what I'm saying right now. There's so many different types of subsections of the MCU that can continue, and new Avengers. That's what I was going to say. And the new Avengers that they're trying to build up too. Like there's so many different storylines that you have to do. So please, for the love of God, I'm begging for the MCU not just to like drop the MCU, put them in a movie, and then just be done with it. Like they have to build that entire section of the MCU for years, decades.
100%. And yeah, and you actually just just made a good segue into what we're about to talk about with this little bit of a rant about the MCU and about Thor: Love and Thunder. Real quick, Jaded says, I hope the X-Men do the same thing as the Avengers. Yeah. Start with individual hero films and slowly combine the X-Men over several plot lines and story arcs. I like that. David says that's a good way to go, Jay. So how do I even want to go about this? Like,
so let's talk about the Thor: Love and Thunder hate right now. Real quick.
So then
we'll move on.
What you just said, the MCU is at a place. If you look at the Infinity Saga, yes, that is 22 massive movies, but it is all centered around who are the Avengers. We built up who the Avengers were. We added them in, J-Dead, like you just said, we added in different characters. We had the origin stories. We added them in. We had the Avengers film. Then we had other films. We had the Guardians of the Galaxy. We had other side stories and side plots and things like that. You had Ant-Man. Then in Civil War, we split that up. It's this whole moral argument of, Cap and Tony fighting, and this whole thing of who are the Avengers? What makes you an Avenger? What doesn't make me an Avenger? And then, of course, when Cap says Avengers Assemble at the end of Endgame, they're all the Avengers. That's for me, that's the point of that scene. They're all the Avengers. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's a recognition of they're all a part of this team. You know what I mean? Let's talk Thor: Love and Thunder. Since Love and Thunder's release, I don't know about you, Miguel. You can kind of share your experience with this, but I've followed and I've read and I've listened to a lot of wildly controversial responses to the movie. And as I said before, it's kind of opened up like a much larger conversation about Marvel Studios and about the MCU as a whole. And let me start off by saying, you are never going to please everybody. Like, it doesn't matter if you are a filmmaker or a film reviewer or a content creator or a police officer or a teacher or a politician. Like, you're never going to please everybody. Largely, people did not like Thor: Love and Thunder, and I think many people, both Marvel fans, non-Marvel fans, content creators, critics alike, have been really bashing Taika Waititi for making a bad Marvel movie. And I'm going to be straight up with you. That's absurd. I think. He's even gotten backlash for like cutting a couple of the cameos. Like, he cut Jeff Goldblum's cameo. He cut Peter Dinklage's Dimitri cameo and like a couple others. But he said like they just didn't work in the movie. Like, it's obvious that he put legitimate thought into cutting those scenes, and he put legitimate thought into what would make the movie work best. And he even said recently, like, the director's cut of Thor: Love and Thunder would be like 4 hours long if they hadn't cut certain things that just didn't work. I mean, he obviously approached making Thor: Love and Thunder in a very creative, professional manner. And why wouldn't he? I mean, I think the fact that people are questioning that is ridiculous. And I think the fact that people are questioning, I think the fact that people are questioning Taika Waititi's filmmaking skills and the fact that he made a quote unquote bad movie is ridiculous. I mean, Miguel, what are your thoughts on this whole bashing Taika and bashing the movie and saying that the MCU is going downhill?
So I'll say this in regards to I'll try to go from how you started to how you ended. So I'll try to respond to everything you said from the beginning to end. So from what you said, like, you're not going to please everybody. What a lot of people don't really understand is that like these movies literally come from, well, they come from fucking comic books. Like, that's like they come from comic books. They stem from all these comic books over like generations of different types of like artists, and like Stan Lee himself, and Jack Kirby and all that stuff that like started this entire fucking franchise that's now the MCU. And one thing that's like very common among comic book world is that like everyone is interested in something else. Everyone's interested in the Iron Man storyline. Everyone's interested in the Hulk storyline, like yourself. Everyone's interested in the Thor storyline. Everyone's interested in the Spider-Man storyline. Like, yeah, everyone is interested in all of that. Like, everyone has their niche and what they like to read. Everyone follows those comic books. Everyone follows their storyline. But then when the culmination happens, whenever we get like a collaboration like Secret Wars, Secret Invasions, X-Men Apocalypse, Days of Future Past, Avengers, the Infinity Saga, like all of that, like that's where like all of the fucking comic book readers that liked Thor, Hulk, Hawkeye, Spider-Man, Iron Man, that's where they all come together and they try to enjoy this storyline written by an artist, not by all of these other comic book artists, but by one author and a bunch of other artists to create this ginormous and like without a doubt detailed, in-depth fucking story that we have, like Secret Wars and like Infinity War and all that stuff. Like, it's a culmination of all of these different storylines and these characters coming together to fight one common cause. And that's pretty common with the comic world. I think if I'm not mistaken, like more recently, like after when the I don't know when Civil War 2 came out, but Civil War 2 came out. Like, I don't know if you guys knew that. Like, there's a comic book out there about Civil War happening again, but it's against Tony Stark and Captain Marvel. It's not about Captain Rogers, Steve Rogers and Tony. It's about Iron Man and Captain in Captain Marvel. So
yeah,
just goes to show that like there's like those storylines are still going on and people are still doing that thing. But what people are kind of missing the point here in the movies is the fact that like everyone's expecting it to be one linear storyline that goes to this to another fucking event, to another thing, to another event, to another big bad, to another world-ending event. Like that's where it's all, that's what a lot of people are thinking that this is like becoming. No, it's not. They created the MCU by telling the Infinity Saga. And the way they told that Infinity Saga was by bringing all of these characters together, telling their stories, give them at least like 2 or 1 movies, introducing them, and then bringing them together to take care of this one cause. So that's how the Infinity Saga started. It started off as you would say they started off the Marvel universe with all the comic books. Like that's how they started it. And this is exactly what they're doing now. This is exactly what they're doing right now, except this is the MCU. It's not the Marvel universe from, back in like all the other comic book days. This is the MCU's version of the Marvel universe. Like they're creating their own storyline, they're creating their origins, they're creating their new world-ending events with their own twist. So that's pretty much what they're doing right now. They're not linearly going to different fucking story, different big climactic fucking movies that we're gonna have like Infinity or an Endgame. Like no, that's not particularly what they're doing. They want to build a world just like how they did, just how the comic book world did, so many people can go to different fucking avenues and read up on stories that they want to read. They're making a Marvel Cinematic Universe, just like how they made a Marvel comic book universe. They're making a cinematic universe with different characters, different storylines, and different climactic battles. So that's exactly what they're making. So whenever I hear people, bashing directors like Taika Waititi for making a quote unquote again bad Thor movies, that I don't really see it as that. I see it as like some people like you and myself enjoyed Thor: Love and Thunder. We didn't really think we would because we're not particularly Thor fans.
It's not even the fact that I'm not a Thor fan. I thought it looked so drastically different from anything we'd seen before. I was unsure of whether they could balance the heaviness and the dark stuff with gore with the funny Taika Waititi stuff, and they did. I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
So they did a good job.
But what I'm saying is like the two of us, we're not like when we think of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we're not particularly like, I know the two of us aren't particularly like big fans of Thor, but we like Thor. But we're not going to but we don't go back and watch Thor 1, Thor 2 Dark World, Thor Ragnarok, and now Thor Love and Thunder. Like we don't particularly like sit down and go watch it again unless we're doing the fucking marathon.
Right.
We're not going to do that. We'll go back to Daredevil, or we'll go back to Spider-Man, or we'll go back to Tony, or anything else like that. Like that's because that's our niche. But for some people, they love Thor, they love his storyline, and they want to keep following his storyline, so they'll watch it. And that's pretty much that's what this Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing. It's creating so many different avenues, so many universes for us to fucking enjoy, for anybody to enjoy. Not everyone's gonna like the Thor storylines. Not everyone liked the Tony storyline, and not everyone's gonna like the Captain America storyline. So that's pretty much where I'm getting at. Where it's like the hate that you're getting from the director itself is kind of misplaced, I would say, and possibly misguided, because you're not really getting what Kevin Feige is trying to do. Is he trying to like move in the shadows of Stan Lee? Quite possibly. He probably thinks of Stan Lee as like one of his greatest icons or heroes of his time. So he wants to create his own Marvel Cinematic Universe the same way Stan Lee created that massive fucking universe that he had in the comic book world. That's pretty much what Kevin Feige wants to do, is create a cinematic comic book world of these comic book characters that a lot of us for so many generations have grown to love. Yeah. And these stories date back fucking years, decades. And now we're going to bring them back, but with our own little twist, because obviously, it wouldn't be as fun to watch a movie if you knew exactly what was going to happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, that's why people don't like That's why some people don't like book adaptations of movie adaptations of books, because you pretty much already know what's going to happen. It's nothing. It's vanilla. You've already read the story. It is what it is.
Well, even look at The Walking Dead. A lot of people complained that The Walking Dead didn't exactly follow the comic books, and it's like, but if it did, what's the point? Like, why? Like, what's the point?
Then what I mean? Then you would just be watching the show just to see live action stuff like that. And I mean, hey, that's fine. Maybe that's something you like. But as a general audience viewers, they want to see a new storyline. They want to see action. They want to see their superheroes going throughout the world. But some of them maybe have never seen Ragnarok. They've never seen Civil War. And when they watch the Russo brothers' interpretation of the Civil Wars, they either like it and they're like, cool, I want to read what happened in the comic book world of Civil War, or they don't like it and they're like, well, maybe I'll like the Civil War comic book adaptations of it. That's either way, you're bringing them back to the comic book world, which is something that, you know, us comic book readers fucking love. Yeah, we love having new readers. We love seeing all these newcomers, young people coming back to these collectible stores and like saying, hey, give me the issues of Civil War, give me the issues of fucking Infinity Saga, which impossible, because that comic book is like thousands of dollars now. But but they want to see it. They want to read more about it. So they're bringing more traffic to the comic book world and bringing more lore and traffic to these superheroes that has grown like notoriety and like fame over the course of so many years. Like it's insane how well Kevin Feige has brought the comic book world and these superheroes out of damn near bankruptcy. If you remember, the Marvel universe was in bankruptcy. Even though Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man was so good and everyone's falling in love with Spider-Man 2, that company was going bankrupt. It went to Sony because it was bankrupt. It sold all of its characters to different studios because they were fucking broke. Because nobody was interested in superheroes anymore. Nobody was interested in comic books. But when Kevin Feige came and created this vision and created this blueprint for what we see and hear now, and what we built the podcast over, that Kevin Feige did that and revived the superhero genre, without a doubt. So I give so many applause for Kevin Feige. So now with what Kevin Feige wants to do, he wants to make his own thing. So you need to understand, guys, that yeah, you might hate Thor Love and Thunder, but you might like Secret Wars. And it may be an entirely different storyline compared to what happened in Secret Wars. Because you got to understand, Secret Wars happened after Civil War, if I'm not mistaken. Blow me up if I'm wrong. But Civil War started after Secret War started after Civil War. The Avengers were disbanded. The whole thing went up, like literally went tits up. And then Secret Wars happened, and they had to come together again to fight the fucking Skrulls. And as you can see now in the MCU, the Skrulls aren't particularly bad people. We don't, as far as we know. They're as far as we know, they're just fucking refugees, man. They're like my people over here trying to get to the States. Like, they're just refugees trying to find a better life. So it is what it is. But Kevin Feige is creating his own story. And whether you like Thor, Love and Thunder, Thor Ragnarok, whether you don't like any of that shit, I know I have a couple of friends that don't like the storyline that they're going with Thor. I understand that. But guess what, man? The universe that Kevin Feige is building gives you the opportunity to choose another storyline to follow. If you don't like Thor, go to Spider-Man. If you don't like Spider-Man, go to Steve Rogers or Sam Wilson. If you don't like those two, go to fucking Ironheart. Like, you have so many avenues that you can go to now because Kevin Feige has created a comic book world, but cinematically. So, with that being said, to wrap that up with my rant, understand this. You have another area to enjoy superheroes. You have another universe to enjoy superheroes, whether it's video games,
another medium,
movies, another medium, yeah. Whether it's video games, comic books, TV shows, or anything else for that matter. You have another area to enjoy these superheroes. So just enjoy them, man. It is what it is. And if you want to hate the directors, by all means, you can hate these fucking directors, but personally, what Taika Waititi did was brilliant. I think it was decently well done for what Taika Waititi did. He made a good Taika Waititi film. The same way people are hating Multiverse of Madness, but if you were a Sam Raimi fan, you understand he made a decent Sam Raimi film. So
he did.
That's another thing that I'm sure I'll ask you as well. Kevin Feige is taking a lot of experiments. He's taking a lot of fucking he's experimenting a lot in this fucking phase, and I think that's something that's been said by Kevin Feige. So I'll ask you this, Brad. Do you like the theme that Kevin Feige is taking with this phase, with phase 4, and the experimenting and letting these directors tell a story about their respected superheroes, but also helping the whole overarching linear storyline that Kevin Feige is trying to keep together?
Yes, and I'm gonna say this very bluntly. So many people are trying to, in response to Thor: Love and Thunder, so many people are trying to make the argument that the production quality of Marvel Studios projects is declining. And I'm going to be very blunt about it. You're full of shit.
Like, now, see, I don't know about that. I may disagree with you on that.
I don't think there is anything cheap going on here. And I think people are trying to make that argument because here's where I'm coming at it from. I think people are trying to make that argument because it's been different. And that goes back to what we just talked about a little bit ago. This has to be different. Everything centered around the Avengers and the Infinity Saga. But a lot of those characters are no longer in the picture. Tony Stark, for all intents and purposes, was the main character of that saga.
He was the Logan of the X-Men.
Yes, he carried that. Not to say that it wasn't good on its own. I don't mean that at all. But he carried that. And I think the fact that this phase has been different so far, what we talked about earlier about every single one of these TV shows, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Ms. Marvel, Hawkeye, all of these series have been drastically different from each other. All of the movies, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Widow, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, they've all been drastically different from each other. I'm not talking about the CGI or the production quality in that,
Okay, I'm about to say, because there's some shit going on with that.
Yeah, I don't mean in that. I know, we'll get to that in a minute too. I don't necessarily mean in that respect. But I'm coming at this from a story. I tend to come at things a lot from a story perspective. Like, you'll always hear me talk about the story before I talk about, the CGI and all of the technical stuff. I think, but by the way, but before I go on, I got to get to this. J-Dad, you're this killed me earlier. That's why I was laughing. He said Miguel on one of those late 90s Tarantino rants, and I'm bro, you were going off, and I was trying to contain it, and I couldn't, man. It was hysterical.
Well, bro, look, Tarantino is
Adderall is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, I don't take Adderall, but I'll say this. I mean, Tarantino, like, I relate to Tarantino so much because, in that regard, because he loves movies. Like, he doesn't bash directors for their types of decision or whatever. He just loves movies. If it's a good movie and he likes it, he's gonna like praise it. If he doesn't like it, it is what it is. He doesn't particularly like it, but he understands some directors' decisions in making these movies. And I, for one, have that type of same mentality. So, like, when I hate a movie, it's not because I hate it just because I hate it. It's because, like, I didn't particularly like the decision that some of these directors made, or I didn't like the quality of the storyline of that is. But I will praise and hate every movie for what it is, not for like the whole production team as it is. Like,
right.
There's plenty of Sony movies that I actually like. Again, like Days of Future Past, sure. Logan, and the Wolverine. Like, I like those 3 movies. Yes. Like, those 3 movies are pretty good. And if you're being honest, the whole X-Men trilogy, I don't mind them at all. I like them. I didn't find them cheesy at all. I thought they were decent superhero movies with real world fucking undertones, real world topics that they talked about it.
X-Men: The Last Stand, the third one. I actually really like that movie. It's like one of my favorite X-Men films. By the way, there are 13 people hanging with us right now. Every single one of you, click the like button. Just go ahead and do it right now. Won't hurt you. J-Dead says, I'm clipping Miguel's rant and using it's my ringtone. Oh, man. That's awesome.
Let me know what you use it for, because I'd love to know. Yeah.
Well, look, here's the thing. The road to Infinity War and Endgame was incredible. Like, I don't know if I'll ever feel as invested and full as I did sitting in that theater next to you, of course, on opening weekend watching Endgame. Like, and we all had the same thought after that. How on earth are they going to top that? How are you going to top that? But here's the thing. Marvel has to be allowed to evolve. Like, the way that you continue to be successful after Avengers Endgame is by continuing to evolve your story and your characters, by continuing, like you just said earlier, and your Quentin Tarantino ran, to continue to build your universe in new and different ways. And that's what they're doing with Phase 4. Like, again, if you haven't noticed, everything has felt different. It doesn't feel like one big overarching everything ties into everything story yet. Every one of the Disney Plus shows has felt extremely unique and different from what came before it and what came after it. You know, during the Infinity Saga, so many people complained that Marvel didn't give enough creative control to directors, to creative teams. That Disney was always playing Big Brother. It was one of the biggest criticisms of that period of films. But now that Phase 4 is going in a different way, suddenly many people are making the argument that they're not sticking to what they do best and that the production quality is declining and it just doesn't feel like it did before. Of course it doesn't feel like it did before. Like, think about it. Like, you are starting over you're almost completely starting over. Like, it's almost like if you went back to Avengers 1, like, yes, you're playing around in an established world, but you've got to introduce new characters and new stakes. You've got to build that same
Avengers, like, superheroes have died, worlds have been destroyed, and different types of storylines have either finished or the superhero has died. It's as simple as that. And I'm sure plenty of people didn't know, like, whenever they first read the first major event, which I'm pretty sure is Secret Wars. Secret Wars was the very first major event in the comic book world of Marvel. Like, that was the very first major event that happened, and I'm pretty sure people that read that comic book, they're like, bro, how are they going to top this? Well, guess what? The Infinity War happened, and then guess what? Civil War happened, and then guess what? Days of Future Past happened. Like they kept topping it. They kept making these storylines.
Apocalypse. Yeah, like, it goes on forever. So. It's like Home Alone. I could do this forever, baby.
Yeah.
But I listen. Like, our boy Soup said it best. Like, Multiverse of Madness was very much a Sam Raimi movie. Eternals is very much a Chloe Zhao movie. Love and Thunder is very much a Taika Waititi movie. Guardians 3 will very much be a James Gunn movie. Deadpool 3 will very much be a Ryan Reynolds movie. Like, it makes sense. These are incredibly creative people that have done a really good job bringing new stories to life in new creative ways. Like, I love that all of the Disney shows feel so dramatically unique, even though it's still a part of the same universe. And I think part of the problem, and I know this is something that we can even talk about with Halloween Ends in just a little bit. I think part of the problem is we live in a world where everything is either a 10 out of 10 or it's a 0 out of 10. There's no
like middle ground anymore.
There is no middle ground. Like, just because a movie isn't Titanic or Gone with the Wind or Forrest Gump or The Shawshank Redemption or The Godfather or insert iconic movie here, like, that doesn't.
And you also got to remember this right now. Some of those movies that he just noted were bombs. They became cult classics.
Yes,
and they became like the most iconic cult classics, like Pulp Fiction and like Shawshank Redemption. Shawshank Redemption did not do well in the box office,
except for Titanic.
It wasn't until later on.
Titanic won more Oscars than any movie, and it was the highest grossing movie of all time. But
sure, we also talking about the death of a couple hundred people. So yeah,
I know, right? But like my question to all of these people, to the people who are taking this so or that are being so harsh about this. Why can't we tell a fun story simply for the sake of telling a fun story? Like, I don't get it. I feel like that's something wrong with fandom today and with the community today, is that people are so quick to slam a movie for every single one of its faults, or at least what they think are its faults. But nobody talks about what's good about it. And I saw this tweet and I wanted to share it because I think it's a very ironic parallel here. I think it's very, very ironic that that people love this movie, but hated Love and Thunder. Look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is one of it's undeniably a fan favorite Marvel film. And it and Thor Love and Thunder share a lot of the same qualities. I wanted to share this. I thought it was really cool. Both of them, the comedy comes first. It doubles down on the franchise's tone. It doubles down on the comedic aspects. It doubles down on everything that makes those films great. It's got a kick-ass soundtrack. It's non-consequential to the MCU, meaning it matters, but it's not like what happens in this film affects everybody else in the universe.
Or like you didn't know that this movie was going to affect. You didn't know Ego's death was going to help Thanos decide to continue searching for the Infinity Stones. Yeah, I agree with that.
100%. It's a big, fun cosmic adventure, which Thor: Love and Thunder is. It is a fun adventure, and we travel across the galaxy doing it. Same thing as we did with Guardians Volume 2. A fourth of the team is CGI. And it is. You have Korg. You have the screaming goats. Again, a lot of it's CGI. A lot of people think that there are too many jokes. There's a cold open with the villain, the Golden City of Pretentiousness. You have that with you do. You have that with the gods. You have that with I forget what's it called, where we get the Adam Warlock. Where we get the Adam Warlock tease at the end. But then you also have a really emotional ending as well.
Golden City of Pretentiousness. Oh my God, that needs to be a thing. Like, perfect.
If anybody from Marvel Studios is listening, like, you need to
label that.
You need to make that a thing.
You need to PM that, my man. That was fucking gold.
But I don't know. I really think that that's an interesting take. Like, why is it that people adore Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for all of the same reasons that they hate Thor: Love and Thunder?
The reason why I think
understanding that.
The reason why
is an ironic parallel there.
It's mainly because in the comics, Thor was Thor. Like, he was medieval Odin's son. Fucking like badass, like taking down all of these mighty enemies. Like Gore the God Butcher and Thor's fight and the comic books was so fucking gruesome and so fucking epic. And when it came to like the comedic undertones, the reason why Thor was funny was because he was a god. He was a god from Viking storytelling. Like, he was a god, but when he would come to to deal with the humans, here on Earth, the only time he was funny was when he didn't understand human societal rules or like norms or stuff like that. That's where the comedic undertones came in. But they made sure they even though that was there, they still continue with the story of Thor being an absolute fucking badass. And there is another funny comic strip of, like, I've said this before, where like the Avengers are like battling this ginormous monster or whatnot, and then they're on the ropes. Are the Avengers gonna win? And then all of a sudden, fucking Mjolnir just decapitates the thing, and there it is, Mjolnir just sitting right there. And Tony's like, "Hey Steve, do you have a pen?" And writes, "Hope retirement is hope you're enjoying retirement. Love, Tony." And Thor retrieves Mjolnir back, and he's just sitting in there in fucking retirement. Like, he's so out of what's the word? Out of touch of like all of us and the Avengers. So out of touch that he's just like he's like an entirely different world, and because he's just that badass of a character, and his storylines in Thor is fucking insane. Like, even in Civil War, whenever when Tony tried to recruit Thor to his side, that battle between those two was ridiculous. Like Thor fucked Tony up because Thor was upset that Tony created a clone that ended up killing, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think it was Ant-Man. It was someone else that could enlarge. But that Tony made a robotic clone of Thor, and Thor was not happy about that. So he whooped them to daylight. So because Thor just was like, I'm a god. You cannot replicate me whatsoever. I am out of this world. I am above all of you. Your puny fights between you and Steve Rogers is nothing compared to what I have to deal with. Pretty much Thor's attitude and the comic books is the same as like Captain Marvel's in the MCU, where Captain Marvel is like, I can't deal with this right now. I have this massive battle that's happening in this other world. Like, I have to go deal with it. It's the same thing like that, but then again, Captain Marvel's obviously from here. But since her time as a Kree soldier and as Captain Marvel, since the late 80s or 90s, she's been out there battling different types of conflicts out there. So she doesn't particularly like totally know, like, is when she finally did come to the earth again, she didn't really understand societal rules or norms because that's just how it worked. And that's what happens when you've been out, and you don't know Earth. So like that type of comedic sense of humor is what Thor had in the comics, but he also had the badass storylines of like, fighting Gore the God Butcher and Hercules and all that other stuff. Like he's had all that. So that's why people are not really liking the fact that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is kind of has the same idea as Thor and Love and Thunder, because they wanted more dark, more Odin's son. They want Odin's son. They don't want Thor. They want Odin's son's fucking Thor and being shown in the movies. But guess what, guys? That didn't do well. Because you know why? Thor: The Dark World. That didn't do too well. And they tried to double down on Thor's godly presence. But that didn't work. You guys barred it. You guys hated it. It's the dark horse of Thor's franchise, the MCU. So guess what they did? They upped the tone and they made it more lighthearted with Thor Ragnarok. And yeah, I know some of my friends don't particularly like Thor Ragnarok either, but as a majority, people loved it. People love Thor Ragnarok. So that's probably the reason why people don't like Thor Ragnarok, because it plays too much with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 was, it set the premise. It set the tone. It said, hey, man, this is just a bunch of ragtag group of guys trying to, make a quick buck in this fucking universe.
Right.
So.
Well, I think people need to chill and accept that Thor Love and Thunder is a fun ride that it's not Avengers Age of Ultron. It's not Infinity War. It's not Civil War. But it is a great time. Again, focus on what it is. Don't focus on what it isn't. It gave us an awesome villain in Christian Bale's Gore the God Butcher. And listen, like, I know and accept that I need to do the same thing for Halloween Ends. Like, we are going to talk Halloween Ends in just a minute. I know this has been, we knew this was going to be a long one. It's our only live show this week. We're at 2 hours right now. So if you're watching with us, please be sure to leave it a like. Thanks for so much for hanging out with us tonight, guys. But I know at the end of the day, I need to do this too. Put your expectations aside and just enjoy the ride for what it is. So just something to think about. I know you guys are moving in the chat, and we really, really love to see it. I saw something about a foot fetish. I have no idea. I'm not even going to ask.
I do.
I know Miguel wants to know, right? Let's see. David says, right, who's up for a Tarantino Avengers movie? Oh, good God. Could you imagine the language out of Captain America?
No, it'd be Tony. It'd be Tony fucking reaming this place out. I'm sure Tony would love to throw a couple of F-bombs at some of those Avengers. I'm just not going to lie.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Million Ideas. What's going on, man? He says Tarantino is the man. I love his take on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I don't know if I know his take on Halloween 6, because originally he was going to have a role in Halloween 6. Not a role in the film, but like he was going to write and direct it.
I said, I didn't really like his idea with Halloween. So again, guess what? Kind of wild. I didn't particularly like Tarantino's vision for Halloween, and I'm glad he didn't do it, because it probably wouldn't have gone well. It probably would have been a good movie, but like I personally wouldn't have liked it. I mean, that's just how it is. Some people probably would have, like yourself right there.
Yeah, Million says David. Here, replying to David Irwin, he says Tarantino said that Rob Zombie did a wonderful job, but he had to get his head out of his own ass first to realize it. He hated it on first watch. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very odd cup of mildewy tea to get through Rob Zombie's Halloweens. I like them. I have a very much a love-hate relationship with them. I love them, but I also understand that there's a lot of things wrong with them. Also says people hate Halloween Kills for the same reasons they love H2, H4, etc. Go figure. David says, wow, and Tarantino is a Halloween franchise fan. It's a good point he makes, though, considering ends might be reinventing the wheel. That's true, and we're getting ready to talk about that in just a second. Rosalia says, hardcore fans' expectations are too high. I agree with that. And again, we fall into that too. Like, I am not going to try to sit here and be, hypocritical about it. Like, I recognize that we fall into that, and it's something that I think I'm kind of working on too, as a movie dude, and as a movie fan, and as a fan of these franchises, and as a member of these fandoms. Like, I think, especially with Halloween Ends, I'm really going to try to go in with an open mind and with way less expectations. With way less expectations than I had for Halloween Kills, to say the least. So, J-Did says, hitting that like button is the easiest thing you'll do all day, and Brad and Miguel really appreciate it. We really do. We appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, we really do appreciate it, man.
More so, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. That's what we really appreciate. David says, some great discussion here, guys. It has been, man. It's been a really fun show. Million Ideas says, I wouldn't even say too high. I'd say their expectations aren't even realistic. I think that's true as well. I think especially even more so with Marvel than the Halloween stuff. I think that's true as well.
I could say the same for Halloween.
Yeah. You could. You could say the same. I'd agree. Rosalia says, this was a really great, really deep discussion, guys. Great content. Thanks so much. We love you guys, man. Thank you so much. The time has come, my friends.
Let's talk Halloween, man.
Let's talk Halloween Ends. By the way, I know we kind of glossed over this. I know there's a lot of VFX artists that are speaking out against Marvel right now for like unrealistic deadlines and the crazy work schedules and like asking way too much. And like, look, we are Marvel fans, like huge Marvel fans, and I know a lot of people call us Marvel fanboys, like through and through. But that
I will acknowledge that the MCU is not doing a good job for these VFX artists, and that's why you get the quality that we're seeing.
Right, and that doesn't mean that they're perfect or that we agree on everything they do. I mean, no, like with the power of Disney, with the massive force that Marvel Studios has become, I'm sure they're extremely demanding of these artists and their time, and we don't know a whole lot about that deep behind the scenes stuff. Like, I don't want to comment on that because it's something that I don't really know for a fact. But if it's all true, then yeah, I mean, Marvel needs to figure out a way to manage their content and the work that's expected of those artists a little bit better. And I think it goes without saying, but I mean, of course, we see we see Stan Lee's name, we see Kevin Feige's name, we see RDJ and Tom Holland and, the big ones, but it's important to remember that making a Marvel movie is very different from most other productions, and that there is a lot of post-production work and, with the CGI and the graphics and the editing that, goes into making those films and to making things like
I would agree with you. Yeah. So go back and watch Spider-Man No Way Home. And watch the end credit scenes. Don't worry, you want to, because you have to watch the post credit scene. So go back, read the credits, and literally read who are the VFX team. It's not one guy.
Oh yeah,
it's not Tom Jones at VFX Studios. No, it is over 50 to over 100 fucking different types of people working in the VFX studio trying to make this movie as good as it does.
Yeah,
and. Yeah, Marvel Studio is huge, but they also, contract these other VFX studios, and they ask them, hey, help us make this movie great, and they reach out to so many other different VFX studios. And if you are in a VFX studio, or if you're a VFX artist or whatever, bravo to you, man. Like, the work that these people do to create the movies that we all like come to love, like watch the behind the scenes of these giant movies that contain so much of these VFX stuff. Like, they're so in depth, they're so detailed. If given the right amount of time, they make some really goddamn good fucking movies. Avatar is going to be one of them. Godzilla was definitely one of them. Jurassic Park 3 is one that I like to note because it was one of the older VFX movies that I come to love. And now look at all of these other type new movies that are coming out, like Dune. Fucking hell. Whatever the hell that studio did was phenomenal. I'm sure it took years for them to make Dune as beautiful as it was. But then what actually makes me sad to see is whenever you have Thor Love and Thunder and how and Multiverse of Madness, when you see the fucking CGI and the VFX of these movies, you can definitely tell that the VFX team is being stretched way too thin. And whether that's something Disney's doing or something the VFX team is doing or something just about like the quality of that these people are wanting, like whether it's here or there, I don't know. But what I can agree with some of these people that criticize Marvel movies now is that the VFX team, something within VFX and the Disney Studios and Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's something that's not totally mixing well, and you're obviously seeing it on the big screen. I would definitely agree with you on that note. So,
yeah, man, I think it's important to remember. Like, again, I don't want to comment too much on this because I don't know. Like, I don't have that kind of information, but every name in those long list of credit sequences that we wait through to see the
if you do have that insight, please reach out to us because we'll love to do an episode with
you. Every single name in those long post-credit sequences that we wait through had a hand in making these movies possible. So shout out to everybody that has a hand in that and that works on these things and that dedicates so much time to making them a thing. So
you see that giant fucking studio picture of all the major characters in the MCU. Well, take that giant group of people and multiply it by like 100-fold.
Yep.
And that's how many people were actually working on granted, these actors, they did their part, they did their time learning these lines and actually making a good storyline that we see, but multiply that entire crew of actors by 100 and you have the fucking VFX team, you have the composers, you have the editing, you have the writers, you have the fucking post-production team, you have all of them. Every single one of them played an important part in making the movies that we've all come to love, whether that is Shawshank, Titanic, or Avatar, or anything in the MCU. You have an entire group of production teams that work day in, day out. These actors can clock in and out when their lines are done. The production team, they're 24 hours until the movie is done, without a doubt. Right. So
100%.
Big props to you guys. If any of you guys know anybody that's in the production team of these movies, pat them on the back, give them a beer. They definitely need it because they work day in, day out to make movies that we all pay $20 to see. So
100%, man. I love that you guys are talking to each other so much. It's like, it's so cool to see, man. We love it. Let's see. Jaded says watching the credits after a Marvel movie is like reading the Old Testament.
Fuck, it really is though.
It's a lot, really man. It's a lot.
It's a heavy read. But I've come to actually read them and actually enjoy. See which studios have been working on the same movies here and there. Which one's working on this franchise and which one's working on that franchise. I used to be personally like interested in the whole VFX stuff, like all of that stuff. Like I used to play with like Blender and all that stuff, with all that like animation stuff. I used to play with all that stuff, and yeah. I have such a huge respect for these studios. So yeah.
Real quick, by the way, Tuesday night. Remember, Tuesday night, Mike and Jay, we're hosting the Wham Fam Tuesday night. It's going to be a friggin' awesome time.
It's our turn on the hot seat.
It is. We're going to talk Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. We're also going to talk Halloween Ends, which we're about to do right now. We're finally there. We're going to talk Halloween Ends. It's going to be a really cool time. So please join us Tuesday night at 8 p.m. We'll be live with Mike and Jay from We Watched a Movie. Let's talk some Halloween Ends, man. So first of all, the biggest news at the moment is that on Wednesday, we are getting the first official trailer for Halloween Ends revealed by Jamie Lee Curtis. She posted this on the 13th. Pumpkin 720. So obviously that trailer is coming now.
Mm-hmm.
When the trailer was rated, its runtime was listed at 1 minute and 16 seconds, which you have to remember you can fit a heck of a lot into 1 minute and 16 seconds, but I think it's looking like this could be the CinemaCon trailer that was shown a month ago. And if you remember, that trailer was mostly a compilation of footage from 78, from 2018, and from Kills, with the exception of a brutal, as it was described, fight sequence between Michael and Laurie where she stabbed him in the hand again. Laurie really has like a personal vendetta out against his hand.
Bro, my man's hand is fucking gonna be a nub by the end of this fucking movie.
And kicks him onto a coffee table and all that good stuff. So let us know right now, what are you guys hoping for in the Halloween Ends trailer? Are you okay with it being a compilation of the whole, I forget exactly what it said, but it was like the every scare, every slash, every whatever has led to this, or like, you know, it all ends. Like it's the whole, are you okay with it kind of being
a culmination with it being more of everything that's happened and then a small snippet of new footage? Like, are you guys okay with that?
A tease, or do you want it to be more of an example of the story that we're going to get? Miguel, what are you wanting to see in the Halloween Ends trailer? Action or story?
I'm more interested in particularly the story, because over the course of, you know, the past couple of years of like, you know, just being in like way into the rabbit hole of Halloween with you, and even though I dirtied my fluffy white tail in the world of horror, I've learned to come and love and appreciate Michael Myers and his influence in the horror genre. So if this is going to be the last movie of Michael Myers for a while, let me say that, a while, yeah, I'd like there to be more of a story-driven trailer, because this is like the culmination of like what, 1978, if I'm not mistaken, of the very first Halloween. 1978, right?
What did you just say? I'm not gonna lie.
What was the first when the first Halloween movie come out?
78.
78. Okay, like Halloween Ends is the culmination of the very first of everything that's happened in the very first movie that happened in 1978. So this is now been a storyline that's been taking place for the last
40 years. Well, 44 years if we're talking Halloween Ends, because it's a 4-year time jump.
For the last 40 years. Yeah. So this is fucking huge. So I'd much rather it be like a very story driven thing for me. And I do agree with you, Million. It does sound like a legacy trailer for sure. Like it's like, hey, look guys, this has been going on for so long. We want to tell our final story and then let it die for a little bit and let someone else take the reign, because we already know Blumhouse is not gonna have the reins for it long, so it's gonna go to another studio.
It's looking that way. I think it will be the CinemaCon trailer. Mainly, I think it's going to be that trailer because they have managed to keep so much of this thing under wraps, and I really, really hope that doesn't change. I hope we go in not knowing very much about it. I think the movie will be better off for it, but I think they're going to try to continue to keep things under wraps a little bit more. And I think if you do the compilation thing where you do the whole emotional, it's all led to this trailer, I think it'll satisfy people, but I think it'll also give them the chance to keep a lot of the plot and what we're going to see under wraps. And of course, we'll get TV spots and we'll see, of course, we will get, we'll get a second trailer later on down the road or something like that. But I think it probably will be the CinemaCon trailer. Again, we don't know that for sure, but that would kind of be my guess. Jaded says, I think we're getting the trailer from CinemaCon, and within a day or two, we'll get a surprise teaser as well. Could be. Who knows, man? Could be. I do wonder if they're going to do the whole, like on Monday, I wonder if we're going to get that. Because if you remember they didn't do this for Kills, because Kills was a whole disaster because the trailer leaked and Universal had to get in front of it. But if you remember for 2018, they did this whole quick, it was only like 6 seconds, but it was this whole, like, you got a bunch of quick frames and then it said Trailer Friday. I wonder if we'll get a little something like that, like to boost everybody's interest in the marketing campaign and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of interesting too. Another piece of the Halloween Ends news is that it has had its first public test screening with big
screen
and boy,
leaks. Did it get some reviews.
Well, with big screen leaks confirming that, and Viewer Anon also chimed in a little bit later. Big screen leaks tweeting on the 13th, 2 different cuts of Halloween Ends were screened last night. I believe they were screened in New York City. Forgive me if I'm incorrect on that. Trying to get a gauge on the reactions from both, with Viewer Anon confirming and adding a little bit more information. Yes, they did what's called a bake-off and showed it in 2 auditoriums. One version per
He called it a bake-off? That's fucking hilarious.
So only reason I haven't commented on reaction is that I'm trying to get fair assessments. Only reason I haven't commented on reaction, that's what I'm trying to say. Too many R words. Is I'm trying to get a fair assessment of both versions. So essentially 2 different versions of the movie were shown in 2 different theaters, and they were trying to gauge the reaction of which audience had a better reaction to the film. Now, we cannot attest to the reactions. I have read a couple of things. Miguel and I actually did read one today. I didn't want to share it on here.
Which version it is.
I don't know what version it was, and I didn't want to share it on here because I know a lot of people are trying to avoid that stuff. I'll just say that it was not overwhelmingly positive, but it's out there. It's not hard to find. You'll Google it. You'll find it. But there were 2 different versions shown. I don't know what was in those 2 versions. We don't know that. And with that being said, I think it's important to remember that whether you see or hear great reviews, terrible reviews, lukewarm reviews, I think it's always a good idea to take them with a grain of salt and to wait and assess the film for yourself. Don't let somebody else's opinion dictate yours. I think that's really, really important. As reactions are going to start coming out, I assume they'll play it at TIFF. I think both of the other 2 movies have. Did Halloween Kills debut at TIFF? I know 2018 did. I don't remember if Halloween Kills.
I don't know what the fuck TIFF is.
TIFF is it's like the biggest film festival in the world, essentially. Do you never heard of TIFF? Really?
No.
Oh. That's kind of shocking. So yeah, I'm not sure whether or not it'll debut at TIFF, but as reactions start to come out, don't put a ton of stock into them. I think it's really, really important that you wait to build your own assessment and your own opinion of the movie. Don't just base it. Don't walk in going, well, all the reviews have sucked. Guess it's going to suck. Don't do that. Don't let even critic reviews and Rotten Tomato scores. Don't go in talking, worry about any of that crap because it's not going to matter. The only thing that's going to matter is your opinion of the film.
Yeah, look at it like this. We were reading a whole lot of reviews about Thor: Love and Thunder, and we went in there thinking like, we went in there thinking with the bar low. And look at that. I mean, we got pleasantly surprised by Thor: Love and Thunder. So I mean, take it that what you will. Whether you read the reviews or not, just understand that like that person didn't like the movie. That doesn't mean you'll hate it.
Yeah.
Whether the person loved the movie, that doesn't mean you'll love it. Maybe you'll hate it. Either way. So it's just, you won't have an opinion. You need to be able to watch the movie yourself to have your own opinion. That's all I gotta say. If you tell me that you hate the movie and you say that you've only read the reviews, I'm not gonna listen to you.
Yeah. Well, Million Ideas trailers have always shown too much. That's their purpose. Going back to Halloween 78 trailer, it's par for the course. They're just highlight reels. Yes, absolutely. The people always make the trailer showed too much argument, and like,
I think that's just a horror thing.
It is a horror thing. I agree with that. I think a lot of people say horror trailers show too much because horror trailers, horror films rely on what you don't know. They rely on scares. They rely on horror. So I think when you show it's kind of a double-edged sword.
It's a little contradicting when you say it like that. It's like horror movies are good when you don't know what's going on, but then when you show all the jump scares and all the action that happens in a horror movie,
but at the same time, it's a double-edged sword because nobody is going to again, trailers are for the average Joe, not us, not hardcore Halloween fans with posters and stuff hanging in their room. Like, trailers are for the normal guy who's like, yeah, I saw Halloween 2018. I saw Halloween Kills. They were fun. They were cool movies. The trailers are for the people that are like, I just don't know if I want to go see that. And then they see it and they're like, ah, cool. I want to go watch that thing. That's pretty cool. But with horror, it's a double-edged sword because nobody's going to watch a horror trailer with nothing scary in it and be like, I want to go see that. Nobody's going to do that. Like, you know what I mean? You have to throw them a bone a little bit. And you have to show them something in order to get something back, which is them buying a ticket for the movie, you know? And before we go on, I am going to issue a slight spoiler warning for Halloween Ends. I don't want to see any of you go, but we're not going to talk about anything crazy. All of this stuff is out there now. It is nothing that is like terribly hard to find. It's nothing that we are breaking any news. This is stuff that you can very easily find.
If you are a Halloween fan, that means you follow pages that have to do with Halloween. Right. Therefore, you're obviously going to you've obviously seen or hear of things that we've seen as well, because we don't have insider information, I'll be honest. So if you're worried about that and us giving you guys spoilers, you can have a sigh of relief, because we don't have that. We don't have that insider stuff. So we only talk about what we've seen, which is the same what you guys have seen. So
like, I mean, the things that we're about to discuss aren't necessarily massive spoilers, but they are spoilers nonetheless. You know what I mean? And it's a shame that we're able to talk about them, even if they're slight, because they're out there now. They're not hard to find. But again, with that being said, if you don't want to know anything about Halloween Ends,
props to you.
We love you.
Yeah.
Take a rain check on this one. But if you don't care and you're fine with that, which nobody's leaving, so I assume everybody's fine with that, let's talk about it. So Viewer Anon, who we're going to actually come back to in just a few minutes, posted this in response to the test screening. We already saw that one. Sorry. But I can confirm that Michael looks just like he did in Halloween Kills. And boy, was that toy leak I put out there fake. There's apparently a homeless guy with a big white beard who kind of looks like it, though. So that'll be my defense for the next half century. Now, what exactly is he referring to with the toy leak thing? He's referring to this, and this, and this, and even this. And I'm not going to lie, they look sick. That's dope looking.
I told him that as soon as he sent it to me, I found it first. I found it first on Twitter, because he was like, bro, there is a toy leak going on. I was like, all right, well, let me hop on. I found it like between the two of us first, and I said, bro, that shit's fake. It's like a concept. It's like a concept that someone did for in honors of James Jude Courtney's Michael Myers.
Yeah. Well, and I guess it's about a week ago now. People were freaking out on Twitter because
studios were freaking out too. Like, you told me accounts were being shut down because of it.
Well, I don't know that I had seen that on Twitter, but of course, when something is breaking, everybody's like, like everybody's freaking out. You know what I mean? When that's happening, I hope I will not be doing that again. So I hope you all enjoyed that. So they were freaking out, but that turned out to be incorrect. This supposed leak, was actually a concept toy by One's Customs. And it looks dope. It's kind of a combination. For those of you listening on Spotify or any of the podcast platforms, if you haven't seen this, it's essentially James Jude Courtney in action figure form. He's got the burned face. Part of the beard is missing from where his skin is singed. He's got a thicker beard. His hair is kind of grown out a little bit. The jumpsuit is very, very tattered, very, very worn. And he's got
very
a jacket
Rob
on.
Zombie 2 kind of thing.
Yes, he's got a jacket on. He's got the big thick knife. He's got an axe on the back of his shoulder, which is pretty sick looking. It looks very, very Rob Zombie's Halloween 2-ish.
He's very Assassin's Creed mode, if you ask me.
Yes, it's like Assassin's Creed Michael Myers, definitely. And it looks really, really cool. And it's got the accessories and the phone and all that stuff. But this was actually a concept toy made by One's Custom Toys. And there's a video of it on YouTube. I actually found it. It's really, really cool. It's definitely really cool looking. And I mean, props to One's Customs for making that thing. But, I'm glad that this is not the direction they went. I think it's too on the nose of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I think it looks too much like it. You know what I mean? I mean, now if they wanted to do a jacket or if they wanted to do something different, I could see a little bit different because he's been living. We don't know, but my guess is that he's been living out in the woods or something. He's been just out in the elements for the last 4 years. So obviously he's going to look dirtier. He's going to look tattered. The blood on the mask is going to be stained on there now. The dirt and the grime is going to be thicker. It's going to look different, but this just seemed a little over the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm glad that this is not necessarily the direction that they were going to go. Although I got to say, whoever designed this toy, it does look pretty sick. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, man.
It really does. Even the face sculpt, it looks exactly like James Jude Courtney. It's dope. Let's see. Jaded says Hobo Myers needs a makeover. # glow up Myers. Yeah, man. Rosalia says, who played the best Michael? Honestly, I think I'm going to go James Jude Courtney on that one. And I know people are going to be like, but what about Nick Castle? I mean, Nick Castle is kind of like he automatically gets top tier, but James Jude Courtney is kind of like sharing top tier with him. Like I think James Jude Courtney did the best job. What's been your favorite Myers, Miguel?
I would also agree with you with James Courtney, and it's the same reasoning with you as well. It's like Nick Castle set the bar. Same thing I talked about the whole Hulk thing. Nick Castle he set the bar, and James Courtney happened to go above it and actually like honor Nick Castle's portrayal of Michael Myers and do his own twist, which definitely fucking works. Like he sets like even though he's not particularly like a very massive individual like Rob Zombies, he does have like a large presence.
Well, he's a little bit. I think he's like an inch or two taller than Nick Castle. Jaded says my favorite is Dick Warlock from Halloween 2. Yeah, Dick Warlock is good too. Although Dick Warlock, I think he moves a little bit differently than Nick Castle did. Nick Castle had a little bit more. It's almost like Dick Warlock overdid what Nick Castle did. Like he moves so slowly, but there are some genuinely creepy moments of Dick Warlock. I mean, one of my favorite shots in the series is at the final chase scene where Michael's chasing Laurie around the hospital and Loomis is on his way to the hospital. When right after he picks the nurse up with the scalpel in the hallway. But when there's a moment where Laurie's kind of like falling down the stairs and she's trying to like limp away from him. And you see a shot of Michael walking down the stairs and he's just looking straight out in front of him as he like goes down the stairs. And that is one of the coolest shots in this entire franchise for me. So I think Dick Warlock did a really, really good job as well. Million Ideas says, as soon as I saw there were no missing fingers on the toy, I knew it wasn't real. Yeah, it did fool me. It fooled me real quick at first. Then I was like, because of course I'm freaking out like everybody else is. And Miguel said, Brad, that's not real. He was like, that's not real. There's no way. There's no way. And I was like, bro, I don't know. I don't know if it's real. And I messaged Mike from We Watched TV. I was like, bro, do you think this is real? Do you think this is real? He was like, I don't know, but I don't think so. I was like, and then I don't know. I started looking at it more and I was like, okay, maybe it's not. Maybe it's really just a toy or something. So I don't know. Casey, what's going on, man? He says, dope toy concept. That it is, dude. It really does look sick.
It really is.
Jaded says, I don't think Michael's been out in the elements. I think he's been locked away during the time jump secretly. That's interesting. Blocked away by who is my question. And I don't have an answer to that. But I think that's interesting. I don't think Michael's been out. Oh, it's the same comment twice. Same comment. Million Ideas. James definitely the best Michael since Nick. I completely agree with that, man. So yeah, the toy leak was pretty cool. But let's talk about Viewer Non for just a second. Again, I know some people love spoilers. I know that some people hate spoilers. The content creator game or the scooper / industry insider game, whether you're anonymous or not, and especially when you're privy to insider information, I think is a very, very fine line. And we've always tried to be clear about the fact that we are not privy to that information, and we're good with that. And we are good with we enjoy speculating. We enjoy reporting on information that's already out there. But again, I think you walk a very fine line as a scooper. Now, I don't have a problem with the fact that Viewer Anon scooped the things that we're about to get to, but there was no spoiler warning. And I think that's why you have to be very sure to say, or like we're trying to be very sure in saying that we are going to talk some slight spoilers. And if you're not cool about that, I would hop out. This is where we get interesting. This is where some things get kind of interesting is when we start talking about the plot, because there are some strange things afoot. I'll say that. So, weird rumors. Viewer Anon tweeted on the 13th. Again, a lot happened on the 13th. Over the last few months, people have been asking me a lot about a Halloween Ends rumor, and the questions have picked up recently. So I'll definitively say Michael Myers has not died between movies, and he does not die early in Ends. So there's part one of it.
What a spoiler!
Well, no. He said, to be clear, he says he does not die early. So at least it doesn't mean he doesn't die, but he doesn't die in the first third of the movie, like we talked about before.
Yeah, that's essentially say it. So I'm sorry, guys, if you pretty much got spoiled right there, because I'm gonna say right now that's a spoiler.
Yeah, but I also think that was kind of like, bro, like, come on.
This is a Halloween movie. Can't be pointless without Michael Myers.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like, okay, but what are you going to do if he died in the first third? Million Idea says, gotta go, fellas. I'll definitely catch you all Tuesday. Peace, man. Have a good night. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you Tuesday. It's going to be a fun time. So second of all, he goes on to say, I don't know where the rumor originated, but a number of people asked me in DMs if Michael dies in the first 20 minutes. Again, we reported on that. We didn't know for sure, but I felt like it sounded like a pretty outlandish rumor, and I just didn't see them doing that at all. Thirdly, as other weird rumors I've been asked about go, a radio tower has not broadcast a signal compelling Michael Myers to kill. Now, this is one...
I'm loving how they're just throwing out the fucking theories that we've had.
Right, and that's what I've said.
Like, okay, guys, your theories are bullshit.
I know, and I appreciate it, but also, like, there was no spoiler warning in his tweets. He's just like, hey, here's stuff about Halloween Ends,
Yeah.
So that kind of puts that one to bed as well. About a lot of people were like, what if the radio shower is somehow Silver Shamrock from Halloween 3, and there's like a signal that's just like tweaking something in Michael's brain.
Bro, he's tweaking.
Telling him to kill it. I know, right? He's been tweaking all this time. But so that kind of puts those strange and odd rumors to bed.
Okay.
But the next piece of information is the thing that I think has many Halloween fans, including myself, hung up. And my hope here is that we only have a very small piece of the puzzle, and that things will make much more sense after we've seen the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the wild one. And again, this is probably the biggest spoiler warning of anything so far. Big again. Where's my thing? Where's my thing? This isn't slight. This one's big spoiler warning for the film. Here we go. This was tweeted out on the 14th. I've said over the last few weeks that Halloween Ends is divisive. One of the big reasons why is there's a new lead. His name is Corey. He's played by Rohan Campbell, or Rowan. I'm not sure how you say the name. And by all accounts, his role is bigger than both Laurie and Allison. He's the glue holding the movie together. Other accounts have talked about mixed reactions, and one of the things I'm trying to do is gauge whether negative opinions are due to the story being bad or just shock at the story being very different from what people expect. My general philosophy is I want people to be excited for movies or put fans in the best position to enjoy them. When I first heard about Corey and Ends 3 or 4 months ago, I thought the surprise would piss people off. Then I got more confirmation from the test screenings. I revealed him publicly so people have time to process his existence and hopefully accept the movie's story on its own terms. My hope is we'll all walk into Halloween Ends and like it or not, we'll all walk into Halloween Ends and like it or not, like it because of the quality of the movie, not what its story should or shouldn't be. We're gonna have to break that down because that's a lot. Even saying it out loud is just a lot. So here's what we do know. There is a new character. His name is Corey. He has a bigger role in the movie than both Laurie and Allison. He, for all intents and purposes, he is the main character. Now, here's what we don't know. Where the hell did he come from? Because nobody in this trilogy has been named Corey so far. Or in the franchise for that matter. Second of all, why is he the central focus of this movie and not Laurie, considering this is Laurie's trilogy? C, how does he tie into this at all? Like, what is his role in this? How?
Yeah, because if this is supposed to be like a legacy, like, trilogy, like, it's kind of weird to introduce like another character that we've all never heard of.
Right? I agree. And that's why I said, hopefully this is just a small, teeny tiny piece of a puzzle that we're really confused about right now because we can't see the whole puzzle.
I would say if anything,
for that.
I would say if anything, Corey or whoever the fuck it is, he would definitely be like the heart of the movie, but he's not the main character. I would definitely say Jamie Lee Curtis. I could definitely say, in his perspective, he definitely feels like it.
I mean, this specifically went on to say his role is bigger than Laurie and Allison. I don't know. It's interesting.
Maybe Michael's brother or something like that. I don't fucking know. Like, or Michael's something related to Michael.
I hope not. It's like his cousin or something. God, please, no. Oh, I hope that does not happen. Man. That would be awful. That'd be terrible. And of course, he said, here's an issue with this third tweet. My general philosophy is that I want people to be excited for movies or put fans in the best possible position to enjoy them. I understand you're in the scoop game, dude, but like, that's not your job. That's not your place to leak that to, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know, that the way that was worded kind of got to me. I was like, dude, I get it, but like, let the surprise piss people off, or let it do what it's going to do to them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I kind of had a problem with him saying that. But I agree with him in the sense that like we need to go into this with an open mind.
I like that. The story for whatever, and you shouldn't bash the movie for what you think it should be.
I know. I agree with him on that. On going in with, not lower expectations, but tempered expectations. But I disagree with how he went about spoiling this. Because that's a different kind of thing than saying, oh, they've cast, leaking that they've cast this person in this role. Like, this is a big spoiler about the movie,
Mm-hmm.
And I think back, my thoughts on this. I think back to the original announcement of Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends shortly after 2018 release. Like, we got the picture of the burning house when it says, the saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode isn't over on blah, 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 Halloween Kills and on blah, 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 Halloween Ends. Like, whatever, and we got it in the movie trailer for the saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode isn't over. You know what I mean? We got it in the cool, like, movie theater voice and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I don't want to sound hypocritical here. Like, we just talked about this with Thor, Love and Thunder, about accepting and appreciating a movie for what it is and not what we think it should be. Just like what Viewer Anon had just said, absolutely. We could be worrying about this for no reason. We could walk out of this thing going, well, dang, that rocked. Like, that was different, but it worked. Who knows? And I am going to try and keep an open mind with this one. Much, much more than what I did with Halloween Kills, because I do think the fact that I had such high expectations for Halloween Kills did kind of put a damper on the experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, my biggest question regarding this development is that if this is supposed to be the epic finale to this internal and external battle between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, why are we pushing that story arc to the side?
Yeah.
I mean, to be perfectly like to be honest with you, man, that's the thing I want to see the most. Like, I want to see Laurie and Michael just brawl it out. That's been the focus of this Blumhouse trilogy, and my thought is, why change that at the last minute? Like, I feel like we need Laurie to be the main focus in order to stick that landing. And, you know, another thing to remember is that although none of the movies prior to 2018 are canon except for the original, those still matter to us as Halloween fans. Like, they're still in the back of your minds, whether or not you realize it or not. And this is going to be the final time that we see Jamie Lee Curtis battling Michael Myers as Laurie Strode on screen. Like, that needs to be impactful. Mm-hmm. It's not like she's going to come back in 10 years and they're going to reset it and it's a new timeline. And, you know, this is it. This is Laurie's final curtain call for all intents and purposes. Like, I really hope that they don't just dismiss how important seeing that conclude in a meaningful way is to this film.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even look at Sartain in 2018. Like, Sartain's entire goal, you could almost chalk that up to the entire goal of Halloween 2018. Sartain's goal in kidnapping Michael and letting and making the bus crash and all of that stuff was to pin Laurie and Michael up against each other, to throw the two of them in the ring and see what would happen as part of some weird, sick experiment. Like, he wanted them to fight each other. It's the focus of everything. And I feel like it's just going to be super odd if we make it to the last film, we make it to the end, and that's sideswiped. If Laurie isn't the focus, you know, my question is, if Laurie is not the focus of Halloween Ends, and this, we've heard Jamie Lee Curtis talk a million times about trauma and about the idea that this is all, you know, this is about Laurie's trauma and this is about, you know, Laurie's journey up to this point. If Laurie is not the focus of this film, what was the point of it all?
Mm-hmm.
Why did we go through telling Laurie's story over the course of the past two movies if we're just going to sideswipe that and it's going to be about somebody new?
Yeah, so I would agree with you. Yeah. Well, in regards to like you know, this entire fucking movie like ending in the with this guy named Corey being the heart of the film, it does seem like a little bit of like, it's almost like, you know how like, you know, the third movie of like an horror icon gets and it's like an entirely different fucking cast. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like, well, where the fuck did we go with this? Like, who, like, where's, it's like it was like when Freddy came in Nightmare on Elm Street and you had what's her name? Who was the main character for Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nancy
with Thompson. Nancy. Yeah, it's like with Nancy and all that stuff. And then you kind of want everything. You want when they announced Nancy was going to come back for Dream Warriors, you were excited, but then she gets killed off you know, at the end, and the whole movie is pretty much primarily based off of of the Dream Warriors, like all the other characters. Like, it's kind of like, it kind of cheapens the storyline of Nancy. And I hope this movie doesn't particularly cheapen the storyline of Laurie Strode. And because like the whole focus has been like all about like Laurie Strode, like Jamie Lee Curtis's character, like she's been like campaigning for this fucking movie, like pretty much. She's one of the main people that's like been going for it. I'd much rather it be more about Allison than fucking Corey, if that's the case. If you were gonna sideline like Laurie Strode again, I'd much rather have been like Allison. But to bring in this other new random character, yeah, because of her character and what she went through. But if you're just gonna bring this other like character in the mix, like, well, what the fuck? What the fuck are we going with this?
100%. I completely agree with you. Let's go over to the chat real quick. J-Dead, Michael died in between movies from a broken heart. He just wanted to be accepted and loved, and age kills. Who knows, man?
All man wanted was a hug.
It makes me think of that scene in the back. It makes me think of the scene in Jaws when they're sitting there, when they're doing the whole "I'm tired and I want to go to bed." I've had a little drink about an hour ago. And that whole thing. When Richard Dreyfuss, they're showing each other their scars and stuff. And he goes, look at this one. He pulls his shirt open and he goes, I died of an open heart or a broken heart. And he starts laughing or whatever. That's how I pictured Michael. That was a terrible joke, by the way. Corey will be the one trying to explain why Michael is the way he is, in my opinion. And that's an interesting thought as well.
Kind of like a Paul Rudd thing.
Kind of, if you structure Corey as a character who you're experiencing what's happening, you're experiencing the showdown between Laurie and Michael through his eyes. That could be interesting. That's different. I could see how that would be very, very different. Rosalia says mystery character interesting. It is very interesting. Jaded says, I think there's going to be a supernatural and mind control tie-in with Corey and the radio tower. I hope you're
I hope
that's a joke, because if that's a legit theory, I'm a little scared. Like, I hope not.
Scared, Jaded.
Who knows, man? Casey says, wonder if we'll get any flashbacks. I love Tom Jones Jr. as Loomis and Aaron Armstrong as 78 Michael. It would be dope seeing more scenes like they did in Kills. I think that would be cool. I don't know if we're going to get that.
There isn't much of the 1978 event that would tie into this anymore.
But, well, it's not even that. I think it's like, what more haven't we seen?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have the 1978 movie. We know what happened after he fell off the balcony. Now we saw him get arrested. So it's like,
maybe Corey's a relative of Hawkins' partner or something like that. Like, who fucking knows? Like, yeah,
I don't know. Listen, it could be. I don't know. My only problem with I loved the flashback. Listen, Aaron Armstrong killed it. Tom Jones Jr. looked identical to Loomis. Chris Nelson did a superb job making him look like Loomis. My only problem was the dialogue they gave him, because when he comes up and he's like, Officer Hawkins, where is Michael? Did he kill again? Meanwhile, Michael is standing on the porch. Like, bro, you literally would have ran past him.
No, he asked, did he kill again?
I know, but like,
what happened? Did Michael kill again or something like that?
I know, and I don't know, something about that line felt very strange to me. I was like, really?
It felt out of character from Loomis.
Part of and part of me wants to, like, I feel like that's not something that Loomis would have said, because Loomis would have known, of course he killed again. Like, of course he did, you know? So that felt a little out of character for me. That was really my only criticism with the flashback. I thought everything else was 100% 10 out of 10. J-Dad says Myers, Love and Thunder.
Oh god! If it isn't becoming that, yeah, it could be.
Listen, I've seen quite a few people
say, trilogies. The third installment of a trilogy never really hits.
Quite a few people have said that they think this is going to be a very controversial movie. Even a lot of industry insiders that typically talk about Marvel and DC and other projects have been like, I'm watching Halloween Kills and this whole thing unfold, because it's going to be, or Halloween Ends, excuse me, because it's going to be a very interesting ride for the next couple of months. And that starts this week, man. This whole crazy Buku butt cheeks ride starts this week. And it's going to be a fun time, man. We're going to like it. Rosalia said, you're right, Brad, got to have that epic showdown with Laurie. You do. I don't. Laurie cannot be irrelevant.
Sidelined.
It can't.
She cannot be sidelined at all.
Sidelined. I don't think it's possible for you to kick Laurie to the curb and still stick the landing on this movie. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's possible. J-Dad says 78 Myers, no, but a Myers as a little kid, maybe. What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking flashbacks. You're saying flashback to Michael as a little kid. I don't know if I want that. I don't know if we need to see that. I think keep the ambiguity of it. I think it'd be cool to keep the ambiguity of Myers. By the way, I just saw, and listen, we don't put stock into this, but we're at 499 subscribers right now. So if
guys, give us a subscriber.
And you haven't,
if you want to be that 500 subscriber, if I ever meet you, I'll give you the strongest high five ever, man.
We would really. I thought you were about to say something else. Pause.
No,
I didn't know what you were going to say. Yeah, $4.99, man. We're really close to 500. Again, we don't put too much stock into subscribers, but it's really cool to see.
It's really nice to see like all the work
it'd
that
be cool
we've
to
done,
see that number go up. Well, it's not even that. It's cool to see this community grow. Like, it makes me smile looking through this chat and seeing people have meaningful conversations with each other and greet each other and say hello to each other. And I think that's really, really cool, man. Like, that makes me really, really, really happy deep inside my loins. J-Dad says, flashback to Myers as a kid when he killed Judith could show the radio tower purpose. It could. I still think I'm in the camp, though, that I think people are. I don't know. I kind of think that the radio tower is being blown up into way more than it needs to be. I do. I don't think everybody. There's a lot of theories about the radio tower. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're going to fall off and that's how Michael's going to die, or he's going to push somebody off the radio tower, or the radio tower is emitting a signal that's making Michael crazy, or like, I don't think it's going to be any of that necessarily. I think it will play a role. Like, maybe that's how they try to contact the police, or maybe that's how they try to contact somebody. Like, I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be anything as buku wild and crazy as some people are making it out to be, you know? So I don't know.
I think it'll definitely be like a climactic thing. Yeah.
Yes, it could be. J-Dad says the 500 sub gets a Miguel mustache water bottle. Hey,
I mean, sure.
We're doing t-shirts. Well, this is a you're looking at the very first Let's Talk Movies t-shirt, by the way.
There you go. Give us a little shake, my guy.
We don't I know, right? We don't have them like for sale or anything, but hopefully in the future. So
yeah, we're just testing the water for some designs here and there, because we would like to go to some Comic Cons and stuff like that, but we would like to do some Comic Con stuff like that, but also we want to be able to represent, our podcast. So I mean, if we could do it in a good way, great.
That's true. We could, man. It'd be pretty cool. So. What is happening on my phone right now? I don't know what's happening. YouTube is like, I had YouTube pulled up, like the studio pulled up on my phone, and I don't know why, but it's like completely, I don't know, it's being weird.
We crashed. So much traffic.
we crashed YouTube. That's what just happened, man. Yo.
Yeah, I just saw it.
We just hit 500.
Congrats, guys. There you go.
On one of our longest shows. We're in 3 minutes, we're going on 3 hours, which is awesome.
Me.
Bro, yeah. 500 subscribers. We love you guys. Seriously. That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
Shout out to the movie lovers, man. Awesome. Really.
Whoever did those last two, man, you rock. And like we said before, it's not something that matters a whole lot, but it's cool to see milestone things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's so awesome. Thank you guys. We love you guys, man. You're amazing. We will do this week is going to be kind of crazy, but we'll do a 500 subscriber Q&A one of these days, and we'll literally just hang out. That'll be the point. We won't talk movie news. We won't talk whatever. We'll just hang out with you guys. So That'll be a fun one. J-Dad says, congrats, guys. Y'all deserve every one of them. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, J-Dad.
J-Dad, you've been somebody that's been with us since like the very beginning, like the early days. And you're awesome, man. We really appreciate every single one of you that's hung out with us for a long time. And I don't know, that's kind of surreal. It's really weird to look at it and see 500.
He's going to cry in the car for sure.
No, I'm kidding. So yeah, man, that's kind of that's the big stuff about Halloween Ends. I did have one more image. Somebody asked Viewer Anon, why a new lead? If it's the final movie, why is it not focusing on Laurie? And here's what Viewer Anon did have to say. This was on the 14th. Michael is less important than he's been in any other non-Halloween 3 movie in the franchise. It's not a Michael Myers versus Laurie Strode movie, even if they sell it like that. And that kind of even opens up a new conversation. Like, are they going to, I don't know. Are they going to market it as a Michael versus Laurie movie and then have you walk into a theater and it's going to be like not at all what you expected? Or
I doubt it.
I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure how they're going to do that. It does concern me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. And again, I'm going to walk in with an open mind, and I'm going to keep an open mind through this whole thing. But
proud of you, buddy.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how all this goes.
And I hope you keep like an open mind in this movie, because like when you first saw Halloween Kills, you were kind of thrown off by it. I personally love Halloween Kills, but you were kind of thrown off by it. So right. I think it'd be easier. I think it'd be safe to say that I may end up not liking Halloween Ends more than you do. And that's mainly because, I personally liked Halloween Kills because the way the theme was in that movie, which is like stacked bodies on bodies.
Well,
but I would say that
stacked bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and if you go back and watch, like I actually watched it the other day because I was making a playlist, because like we all like to do parking lot reviews. Like as soon as we walk out of the theater, we like to give our like immediate thoughts on something. Mm-hmm. And if you go back and watch our parking lot review from Halloween Kills, when we're walking to our car in the parking lot, Miguel was like, "That was awesome," and I'm like, I think I liked it.
Yeah,
I was kind of like,
I remember that.
I was like, I think it was good, but I also don't know. Like, I'm really confused. And everybody, all of you guys in the comments were like, "You have to watch it a second time."
Yeah.
Or like, you have to see it a second time, or else it's not going to make any sense. And it was right. The minute I watched it for the second time, I was like, okay, it was different than I was expecting, but like I kind of have fun with it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you just got to accept it for what it is. You know what I mean? Derek and friends, I was your 500th. Derek, thank you, buddy.
Props to you, man.
Thank you so much. That's awesome, dude. He says, "I love spreading the love." Well, dude, you made our day.
Yeah.
Legit made our day. Thank you so much. Real quick, Miguel, final thoughts. Guys, if you have questions, comments, concerns, if you want to give us, your social security number, do whatever, throw it in the chat right now. I'm kidding. Please do not do that. Do not put your social security number out there. Throw it in the chat now before we get out of here. Over 3 hours, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. Miguel, final thoughts. Marvel Studios, Halloween Ends. We just talked about a whole lot of stuff. But like we said, we hadn't had a live show this week. So this is been a big
one. My overall general thoughts. If I had to wrap this up in a bow, I would say pretty much now that COVID is, kind of subsiding right now, and we're going back to the movies, we're all enjoying the experience, and we're all spending $30 on each individual watching a movie. We're gonna go back to just enjoying all of these blockbusters and different like indies and horrors and all sorts of subcategories of movies we're gonna be watching. It's important to know that like every single director, every single movie, every single franchise is gonna give what we all hope to see. And I think since the pandemic has subsided, I think now that we can come in back to a business that we didn't think was gonna make it. We did not think that the movie industry was going to make it for a hot minute. We had a whole concept discussion on what happens to the theaters, what happens to the movie business with the pandemic. So
one of our earliest episodes was on what is the future of the movie theater. That was in like our first, it was like our 7th episode or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just now that we're going back, now that we're able to come back to the movie theaters, enjoy the experience that we've all come to know and love, that we've took our high school or middle school sweetheart Rebecca or something like that to the movies. Like we're back to that atmosphere, and let's just all enjoy the ride. All of these big movies that are coming out, all these movies that we review, all these movies that are going to come out in the next decade or so, like, let's just enjoy it. Let's watch it. Let's spend that $30, and then let's just come back to us, guys, and then we'll be happy to talk about it. If you guys have any movies you want to recommend to us moving forward, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. If there's any particular genre or concept you want us to talk about, anything big that's coming on, let us know, because yeah, we'd love to hear about it. Some days we don't have a topic until the hour before, so we would love some help.
Well, it's funny you say that. I think the theme of this whole thing, it's funny. We're touching on a lot of things. I'm still thinking about, like, we're talking about our older episodes, and we just hit 500, and we're talking about the stuff that we talked about tonight. Like, I think the theme of this, thinking about, like, now that we're at a point where, COVID isn't gone, but we're surviving with COVID. You know what I mean? Like, now that we're going back to the theaters and things like that, I think it's really important to try and walk in objectively and just try to enjoy a movie for the sake of enjoying a movie.
Yeah, like, understand that these movies that are coming out would not have been in the theaters if we didn't survive what we went through, what was the pandemic.
Yeah, so I think I learned a lesson about that. You know what I mean? I learned a lesson in that with Halloween Kills, that I like, and I tried to do that with Multiverse of Madness, but even Multiverse of Madness, I kind of did the same thing. Like, I was like, I think I went in expecting too much, and I didn't enjoy Multiverse of Madness quite as much as I thought I was going to. Spider-Man No Way Home was a little bit different, because with No Way Home, all I wanted was Tobey and Andrew. That was literally all I could care less what else happened in that movie. I just wanted to see Tobey and Andrew, and I got that. And I think that satisfied me enough. I think I really am going to try to do this with Halloween Ends, because I think, it's I'd say it's probably the movie that I'm most invested in for the rest of the year. That I'm the most looking forward to, because I am a big fan of the franchise, as you guys know, and I did have issues expecting too much from Halloween Kills. I really did, and I want to walk into Halloween Ends just ready for whatever happens. If it's killer, great. If it's not, great. But I'm obviously hoping for the best.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm hoping for the best with this thing.
It's like if it fucking sucks, great. That's what I heard.
And that's not necessarily what I mean. I don't think it's gonna suck. I don't think it's gonna be a Halloween Resurrection. I don't think that at all. I think it'll probably end up working for this franchise.
A lot of us, yeah.
You know what's going to be really interesting is, after the fact, being able to watch 78, 2018 Kills and Ends all as one timeline. I think that's going to be really interesting to kind of see how they tie into each other and things like that. But I don't know, man. That it's kind of long stream a lot that we just talked about. Jaded says maybe a throwback streamer vid once a week would be cool, where you all review episodes of a classic horror or sci-fi series like Twilight Zone or Tales from the Dark Side. That would be cool, man.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. That's why we did Event Horizon, because a friend of ours like recommended it, and I was like, yeah, let's just throw it in there, because during our thing with Michael Myers, we're like, we have to throw something else in there. Like, I mean, Halloween is a big franchise, but we have to throw in there something.
Well, and that's what we do with the Purely and Simply Evil show, like, where we go back and, like, we're doing Elm Street right now. Like, that's why Mike and Jay are joining us. Tuesday night is we're going to talk Elm Street 3. Like, Purely and Simply Evil is a show where we can just take extremely deep dives for 2 hours into a movie. You know what I mean? And we literally have, I kid you, like, I'm not kidding you right now. I have it in notes on my phone. Miguel and I have talked about at least 7 or 8 seasons of Purely and Simply Evil that we could do.
So prepare.
Like, it's going to be a long, like, we have a lot to go. I mean, we got to get through all the Elm Streets. We got to get through the Friday the 13th. I mean, we have smaller franchises like Jaws and The Exorcist and Hellraiser. We have Zombies, which is, I'm not saying we're doing Zombies next season, but we're doing Zombies next season because we're both big zombie fans. Like we have a lot planned for that show. Plus, we're going to do this Classics Revisited thing, which isn't its own show on its own, but this is going to be a segment where we'll take, again, like Miguel said, sometimes we don't know what topics we're going to talk about. So we'll do a classic revisit show, like necessarily. We'll just talk, like it'll be like a watch along. And we've talked about the first two doing, because we're fans of those movies, King Kong from 2005, Peter Jackson's King Kong, and Roland Emmerich's Godzilla from 1998. We want to do the watch-alongs of those two. We wanted to do watch-alongs of those two films. So we are going to go back and explore things, kind of constantly as well. Rusty Nails, what's going on, man? He says, let me clear it up for you. Corey is the new lead. So instead of a B plot, this guy just takes center stage. They basically just punted the whole trilogy out the door. No connective tissue. I don't know, man. I hope that's not true. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it kind of sounds like it's possible that it could go that way.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows, man? Who knows? But I know my voice is getting tired. We're about 3 hours and 10 minutes into the show. Guys, I think that is going to do it for us for episode number 84 of Let's Talk Movies. This has been one of our longest episodes ever. Remember, we have a ton of stuff coming up. Tuesday night, Mike and Jay are joining us for episode number 15 of Purely and Simply Evil. We're going to talk A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors. We're going to talk Halloween Ends with them. That's the day before the trailer drops. So we'll have a whole lot to talk about. We've wanted to do, the four of us have talked about doing a show together for a long time. And we're finally going to get to do it, which is awesome. We have Oktoberfest coming up as well. The trailer for Oktoberfest is on the channel right now. You can go check that out. October is going to be a big, big, big month for the channel and for the stuff we have coming up. Again, there's a little tease of the stuff we have coming in October on that on that teaser as well. It's going to be a really, really cool time. You guys are absolutely amazing. We hit 500 subscribers during this stream. That's pretty sick. That's pretty insane, to be completely honest with you. Much love to every single one of you. Thank you to our awesome moderators, J-Dead, Sierra, and Julia. New episodes of our shows premiere every single Tuesday. My voice is getting really scratchy. Tuesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Talk the Movies. You guys are absolutely amazing. We love every single freaking one of you. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday with Mike and Jay. Peace.
Peace.